Good day, this is Teacher Rowan. I'll be your guide in exploring Google Apps for education, for teaching and learning. In Google for Education, teachers can connect and collaborate easily while staying on task. It gives teachers the freedom to spend more time personalizing the learning experience and less time managing it. Students can learn essential skills such as 21st century problem solving, which they can use it in their future careers. As such, the accessibility features will also help and assist every learner to do their best work. Google offers different useful applications that we can use to connect education to technology. This will help our teachers as a 21st century educators to innovate and find ways on how to make teaching and learning more exciting, engaging, effective, and flexible to the demands of the society. Let's re-explore the education experience by discovering new angles to create, collaborate, and communicate as one. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Ang pagkatuto, huwag gawing komplikado. Sulong edukalidad.
Happy Saturday! Good afternoon, everybody. Hi there, Jen. How have you been?
Hi, Pam. I'm doing great. I had the best lunch ever.
I know I saw you eating a while ago at the cafeteria, and I saw how you are actually enjoying your lunch, and that's great. I can see the smile on your face. So maybe a little later, we could also have our snacks as well together.
Yeah, and coffee.
And coffee.
Yes.
Coffee.
Anong klase ba ng kape, Pam?
Yung kaya akong ipaglaban.
Ipaglaban?
Hindi.
O yung
Yung
kaya kang
kapeng
panindigan?
doon tayo sa paninindigan. Ah,
Ayan.
kahit mapait, naninindigan. Ayan. At
Yes.
nanlalamig, alam na mayroon ka pa rin kape. Happy Saturday again! Good afternoon, everybody. And I hope that all of us are all set for the afternoon set of shares. So, are you, Jen? Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Always
So,
ready, Pam.
that's great. And as we all know, we all had our break. Now, a little stretching and all, and we are ready to begin. So, our morning was actually filled with a lot of ahas and wows. So, let us keep the ball rolling to have our achievement unlocked for the second half. So, to begin this afternoon's session, brace yourselves as we learn more engaging ways to teach history and MAPE with arts and culture, plus classroom and slides. So, allow me first to introduce our very efficient and effective speaker for today. She started teaching as a college instructor in 1999 at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. After a 2 year stint in publishing, she found herself back in education in 2001, but this time to teach high school. At present, she is a school administrator and has handled students from kindergarten to senior high school. She is an Apple teacher, a Google certified educator, level 1 and level 2, and a Google for Education certified trader. She is also part of the Google for Education Google Classroom video series, a series that aims to help teachers around the world leverage Google Classroom to deliver distance and hybrid learning. As part of her personal advocacy, she volunteers to train and organize professional development sessions for teachers in the Philippines and in the Asia Pacific region through her Google Educator groups. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, let us all listen to no other than Miss Maan de Guzman. Hi, Miss Maan.
Hello, I hope you can hear me clearly. Hi, Miss Pam. Good to see you again. Hello, Teacher Jen.
Yeah,
Hello
Good
po. Good
afternoon po sa inyong lahat.
afternoon.
good afternoon. I'm so
Oh,
glad that I was given the honor to introduce you. Seeing you again
thank you,
makes me
Miss
smile
Pam.
like this.
Samantalang kami, tuwang-tuwa kami na naging chartista ka namin para sa aming GED event.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
Miss Jen.
we're going to be giving you the floor, Miss Maan.
Absolutely, no problem. So hello, good afternoon to everyone. Perhaps we can start already. So basically, yung task ko for today is to talk about teaching history and MAPE with this particular, I call it a repository actually, of Google with Google Arts and Culture. So let's talk about each of the apps that I will smash together today para lang pumalinaw sa atin what's going to happen. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, of course, is Google Arts and Culture. So what it is, it's an online platform, and what it has is all these high resolution images and videos of artworks and cultural artifacts from all over the world. So a lot of it galing siya sa mga partner institutions or organizations with Google. And what I love about it, I'm not sure kasi kung gaano kayo interested, let's say, in museums. Pero ako kasi pag napupunta sa ibang lugar, ang una kong hinahanap ay museum. And the reason for that is because yun yung pinakamagandang way for us to really learn about culture. You know, culture can be seen a lot on museums, and there's a lot to say about a particular country and how they treat museums. So dito sa Google Arts and Culture, actually, you'll be able to find many of the major museums around the world. So kung nagtuturo po kayo ng history, ng music and art, sobrang useful po siya sa inyo. Kasi nandito na lahat. Okay, you see yung small video na share ko are just some of the things that you can use. In fact, pati science, meron kasi may climate change artifacts dito na pwede niyong gamitin. I'll show you how to navigate it later when we go to the actual demo. Second, the second thing I want to show you, hindi na to bago, it's Google Classroom, no? So it's a free blended learning platform from Google. So everyone can use, not everyone, everyone in the education domain can actually use it. If you're using it in a private account kasi may konting kailangan you're vouching for the fact that you're allowed to do so. But largely, Google Classroom is really useful in terms of streamlining the sharing of materials between teachers and students. Obviously, I use it a lot in my own classes kasi napaka-useful talaga niya. And yung third tool na isa-smash ko with those two will be Google Slides. Now, traditionally, ang Google Slides, like how I'm using it right now, is just for presentation, no? So most teachers use it, let's say, to create a presentation for your own slide decks kapag let's say, you're teaching not just online, but also in face-to-face. Pero ang Google Slides kasi pwede nyo ring gamiting worksheet, pwede nyo ring siyang gawing digital notebook. So nagiging repository din siya of things that you'd like the students to learn. So marami kayong pwedeng gawin sa Google Slides. Okay? So let's start with the demo. Okay? Let's start with the app smashing already. Let me just move to the next slide. Okay, here. So over here, what I've done is I've created a classroom. Tas dito sa classroom na to, of course, because I'm teaching history and MAPE with arts and culture, I want to be able to show you how you can put all of them together. So unang-una, so let's talk about first yung Google Arts and Culture. So for you to be able to access that, all you need to do is really search for it, or you can use this link, arts and culture .google.com. And when you click on it, you'll be placed in this landing page. Now you see that there's also an app for it, both in Google Play and in the App Store. But largely, you will be placed here, yung today's top picks. And then there's a lot of features here, largely for art, let's say, and the things that you might want to do. Pero what I love to using Google Arts and Culture for is here, itong tab na to in particular, this sidebar. And you will see all the ways by which na-arrange na nila yung information that they have. Now, one of the reasons why I am a fan of Google Arts and Culture, no, my teachers know this because I always peddle it to them, is because yung pagkaka-arrange niya is not limited to a topic alone. Hindi rin siya, arranged siya in so many ways. You can explore, you can look at what's nearby, you can look at collections, you can look at themes. So kung meron kayong themes na gustong tignan, pwede. Meron silang what they call Google experiments, and it's really interesting. I won't go touch it so much, but it's really, for example, a body of work of a particular artist was fed into an AI, and what would the AI say, or how will they make sense of that body of work? And so may mga ganun siyang klaseng artifacts that you will see. But this one, this part over here, is what is most useful to history, music, and art teachers. So here they have collated collections by artists. Merong medium. Okay, so let's say digital art, or let's say oil painting. merong art movements. So if you want to look at Renaissance or sorry, that's not an art movement, but largely, let's say for Impressionists, for example, or Cubists, Picasso, for example, if you want artists, by historical events and historical figures, and also by places. So ang daming ways by which you can access the material in Google Arts and Culture. Now, the reason why I'm such a fan of it is because I'm also a fan of allowing the students to be able to access primary materials or primary documents. A lot of the times kasi when we're teaching history, natatali tayo dun sa idea na ang history ay galing sa textbooks. Pero at the same time, ang textbook, hindi siya dapat yung primary source of information. Kasi pwede naman nating bigyan yung mga bata ng access to all these primary documents. I like doing that. Halimbawa, kung mamaya makikita nyo na gagamitin ko World War II. So kung mag-aaral kami about World War II, gusto ko na nakikita nila for themselves yung photos of World War II, kung ano ang nangyari sa Manila noon. And they can make their own deductions. Mahilig din ako magbigay sa kanila ng, for example, yung mga documents, newspapers at that time, or news clippings at that time. Para makikita nila ano ba yung nire-report during sa time na yon. Bakit kaya ganun? And so it allows them to look at history with their own eyes and their own hands, di ba? So it allows them to develop that critical thinking skill. Now we always say na history, learning history means that you are standing on the shoulders of giants kasi you see further than everyone. Kasi di ba meron din kasabihan na history repeats itself. So ang maganda doon sa pagkakaroon ng primary text for the kids is that they can learn and see patterns in history that might be useful to them today. So that's really important to me. Kaya ako fan ng Google Arts and Culture. Kasi maraming primary artifacts, primary information, or primary documents that you can see here. Hindi mo na siya kailangang hanapin. Kasi noon ang challenge is to look for kung nasaan siya. Diba? Or kunwari, kung gusto mong makakita ng primary document, punta ka sa museum. Ngayon, hindi mo na kailangan pumunta. Kahit saang parte ng mundo, basta nandito sa arts and culture, pwede mong ma-access yung photo o yung primary document. Okay, so that's Google Art and Culture. So here you can toggle here kung ano yung mga pwede mong gawin. Okay, so let's say I'm creating an activity, and this particular activity for my students is what I call expert groups. Now, in expert groups, I will divide the class, let's say, into groups, and what I want for them to do is to be able to research on a particular part of history. So as I said earlier, let's say I want to do that for World War II. So I can actually access it in different ways. So because it's a major historical event, i-click ko lang dito yung historical events. Okay, and you can see all possible historical events that might have been historical events in the world. So it's even you can also access it, let's say, alphabetically. Okay, so you can look at it that way. You can look at it in time. This is one of my favorites. Kasi tiga mo, naka-timeline siyang ganyan. So pwede mo siyang tignan in terms of chronology also. Or you can just look at all and look at what your options are. At syempre, ang pinaka-important, pwede rin search. So you can actually just search for the things that you want. So andito na yung World War II kasi madalas siyang ma-search. Pero you also have the option to do that. World War. And it will show you whatever is there. Okay, so here. So here are the topics that you can see in World War II. So marami siyang pwede. So here themes na siya. So here, for example, remembering the Second World War. This one is stories from the Holocaust, which is a significant part of that particular period of history. And there are also collections that either happened during that time period or yun yung theme ng particular collection. They also have what they call stories. Okay, for example, here, D-Day, okay, which is also a significant part of World War II. But let's go back to this toggle piece. So let's say I click here. And it shows me immediately a header, and what it is about. So here, my students can actually access what it is. It also shows you where it's from. Okay. It also tells you the different collections that are available that fall under the category and all the stories that you can use here. Okay. So now, if I'm looking at expert groups, if I want to divide my students into expert groups, I want them to be able to look at different aspects of World War II. And the reason why I want them to do that is so that they become an expert of that aspect. Thus later on, mag-exchange sila ng ideas in their class and exchange the information that they have. So in order for me to do that, what I want to be able to do, of course, is to divide the classwork. So let's say I want to do that. I go to classwork. Now, in Google Classroom, there are ways for you to organize, no? Meron kaming ako personally, I always organize by topic. But if you want other ways, let me share a link. So there's a Google Classroom series that you can actually take a look at. I'm part of that series too, as the bio note said. Kasi Earl, baka pwedeng, ay, sorry, kailangan pala link. Baka po pwedeng i-share yung link in the comments section so that they can access it. So if you want to learn more on how to actually be able to organize your Google Classroom, marami pong pwedeng gawin dyan. Yung sa mga links na shinare ko, sana po ma-share sa comment section para makita nila. Anyway, going back. So one of the things that I like doing first is creating a topic. So the first thing I do is do that. So for example, in this topic, I say World War II. Let's add that. Now, every time I create anything else in the classwork tab, I make sure na I pick a topic so that it's organized. So you could see ito, may ganito siyang topics kung ito yung gagawin nila today, kunwari. Pero for me right now, let's do World War II. The next thing I do is I create material. Now, material is what you choose if you want to give a reference. Kasi what you want to make sure is that it's not confused as may gagawin ba sa material na ito or wala. So I use material to make sure that my students know that it's a reference and not anything that they need to do anything about except read and consider. So the first thing I do is I title it. So let's say I say World War II into World War II materials. And maybe I give them a very brief, depending on what instructions it is that you need. So let's say you say, please read the following materials. Okay, and basically what I just want them to be able to is explore. So now here's the link add. So all I have to do now is copy this link right over here in Google Arts and Culture. See this icon here. It copies immediately to my clipboard. I add a link here and I just add link. So now I can then choose who to send this to. So kunwari, I have all of these students. So I want them all to access it. I put it under a topic, World War II, and then I post. Okay. And once I've done that, it's here already. It's also added to my stream. So that way the kids know that there's new material that they need to access. So it's easy for them they can just click on this and it takes them immediately to the same page that I want them to look at. Okay, so that's the first way you can use it. So maraming pwedeng pa rin gawin dahil dito. Now, when I'm doing expert groups, I want them to focus on a specific, on a specific aspect of that particular time in history. So what I like doing is to divide them in groups. And what I do usually is I use Google Slides. Okay. I use Google Slides to allow them first to collaborate because I can give them editing and they can make an instant presentation. Also, I use Google Slides because afterwards we use it as like a digital notebook. So what they do is they put their thoughts in it and then they share and then everyone's access can be edited to CanView and then they can still go around and look at all of their contributions. Now, when I do expert groups, what I tell them is to do this. So I have a slide where all the instructions are. So they go to the links that they've been assigned to them by group. So I'll do that later. I'll show you how to do that in Classroom. And then I want them to take note of the important information. And then I want them to share with their group and discuss which notes to put in their slide because they have a slide dedicated to them. And then they create their slide. Okay, so all the instructions are there. Now, if you're curious about where I got that slide, that's actually just from slidesmania.com. You can see it here. And that particular site is a good source of templates that you can use. They also have ready templates for digital notebooks and whatnot. And I know that's like not in this app smashing that I said, but it's really useful because it already has graphics I don't have to create. So if I'm doing something like this and I need a quick template, I just go to slidesmania.com. Okay, going back. So now what I've done is I've set up the slide this way, and I want to make sure that each particular slide has a particular aspect to look at. In this case, group A will be D-Day. And I've written here who is part of group A. So let's do the rest. So let's say for group B, I want them to be able to look at the Second World War in 100 objects. So that is the story they have to look at. Okay. And then I will assign who this is for. So let's say I'm going to use all of my friends from GEG because I miss them. There. Okay. And then let's say for group C, so it's so easy, right? You know, if you go to Slides Mania, there are so many other templates that you can use. So sobrang napapadali pa rin niya yung mga ginagamit. For group C, for example, I want them to look at Hiroshima. And you know that that's an important part of World War II. So let's say this is yung group ni Mary, ni Teacher Rowie. Sama natin si sino pa ba? Let's say si Teacher Jessica, who is my coach in VIA. Hi, Teacher Jess. Okay. And then for group D, let's say we're doing women in war. So they're looking at, let's say, what are the effects on particular groups. Okay. So you can actually, I'll put my my teammates. So there's Alvin, there's Leia, and there's Rosso. So hello to Team Alpas of VIA 21. Okay. So now I actually have a slide template for each of the groups already. And what it does is it tells the kids where to go and what to do. So even if, let's say, I give them the instructions in the classroom already, they can refer back to this slide para alam nila kung ano yung gagawin nila next. Now, kung sobra talagang may oras ako, ilalagay ko rin dito yung link na gusto kong puntahan nila. Pero ang gagawin ko na lang, gagawin ko yun sa Google Classroom. Okay? So now I have to make sure that the link settings are right. So here, I will put, for example, here, share with demo workspace. So anyone can be an editor. That way, when they access it, they can edit, and there's only one file. I will copy that link. Okay. And I'll go back to my classroom. Okay. So now I have to create something that they need to do something with. So hindi siya material lang. It's actually, let's say, an assignment. So if I'm going to make an assignment, I immediately add a link to the slide that I just made. Okay, and I fix that setting to students can edit the file. Now, let's look at those different settings no, very briefly para lang ma-explain ko. If you set it that students can view a file, that means they can't do anything with it, but only I'm sorry, dighay ako ng dighay kasi kakakain lang natin, ano? So I'm sure kayo rin. But anyway, kung yung students can view a file, they can't do anything about it but look at the material. Now, I use that only if let's say, I create a hyperdocument na parang slides or docs na pwede nilang ma-access yung link pero hindi nila pwedeng i-edit kung ayaw ko ma-edit nila. Now, yung students can edit a file. Ito yung ginagamit ko if I'm using Google Slides or Google Docs as a workbook or a worksheet. So I put them there. Tapos, if I want individual work, I make sure it's set this, yung make a copy for each student. Kasi ang gagawin naman ng classroom, ilalagay niya yan sa isang drive specific to me that I can access and look at their individual work. But for in this particular instance, since I want them to do all of their slides in a single file, I'm just going to put students can edit the file. Okay. So now that that's there, I'm just going to title it. So let's say I'm titling it as Expert Groups for World War II. There. So now I'm going to have to give them instructions. Okay, so I will pretend that I'm giving them instructions already. So let's just put instructions here. No, better yet. Let me copy paste from the slide. Di ba ang dali? Okay, there. So that's going to how it's going to look like. Now, how do they know, 'di ba? Kung ano yung dapat sa kanila. So after I do this, I will make sure that I've placed, let's say, the topic. So it's World War II. I'm assigning it to all students because everyone has to make sure that they're able to. Kung meron kayong points, pwede niyong lagyan ng points. I come from a school na ang system namin is standards-based. So we don't have points na numbered. So normally for, let's say for work, I would put it as ungraded. Or I will add a rubric instead. Now in Google Classroom, you can add a rubric using it from Sheets. Or you can create the rubric here. I'll just go to this briefly para makita nyo. So you can put the criteria here, yung descriptor, tas kung ilang points, you just keep adding. Sobrang ano niya, sobrang convenient niya, depending on what rubric it is that you want to do. I use it always for writing, kasi we use rubrics for writing. So I make sure that I always have a rubric for them to guide them. But this time, because it's just an exercise, I will keep it as ungraded, okay? And then I will assign. Okay, so that's for all students. Okay, so there it is. So let's say, for example, that I want them to access different materials, diba? Kasi nga expert groups sila. So I want them to be able to, just that group to access the material that I want for them to see. So what I do now is create a new one, and I create now material. Okay, so here, I will title it according to their group. World War II material for Group A. Now, Group A, ang kanilang ang kanilang topic is D-Day. So I go back to Google Arts and Culture, okay? And I look for D-Day. Now, as I'm searching for D-Day, you will find it will talk about so many other things. See? And I can now look for the things that I want. Okay. Now I can look at this in terms of historical event, and this is Normandy landing, which is basically D-Day. So I will just take a look at that and see if that's applicable for me. Okay, so yeah, it's a collection. Hold on. So the best way, I guess, for me to do that is look at historical events again. And then I know there's D-Day here. Okay. See? There. And then we can look at it already. Okay, so all. Okay. I've done this. I know it's there. Sorry. Sorry. There. So themes pala. Okay. So now I can look for D-Day already. There. Okay. So now that I want this, all I have to do now is look at the link. Okay. So, and now what I want to do now is copy it. Okay. I can go to Classroom, but I like copying it para lang sure ako. And then I go back to my Classroom and put the link here. And so now the link is there for my students to access. Now, because this particular material is just for Group A, what I want to do now is to make sure that only specific students get access to it. So I know that my students' name are just demo names, but if let's say I want the first 5 students to get it, I just click on them and it says 5 students. I make sure there's a topic so that they know how to access it, and then I just click on post. Now, when that happens, when I do that, what happens is the only people that can see this in their stream will be the people that I have given access them to. So immediately what it does is it differentiates the materials for my students. Okay, let's try one more. So if let's say in Group B, So I want to create material again. So this is again World War II materials for Group B. And I think for Group B, I wanted them to look at Hiroshima. I just go back again to Google Arts and Culture. I look for Hiroshima. Wait for it to load. And then there's a place, but there's also a collection. So this one is very interesting kasi it shows us all the things that happened there. So I'm going to get this link, put it in my classroom, add that here, and then again, I make sure that I assign it to specific students. So kanina, it's 1, 10, 11, and 13. So now I want my next set of students. I choose that topic again so that they don't lose it. I'll probably add a description here, and then I post. And you can do that now for almost all of the other works that you have. Okay, let's do one more. Okay, so again, that's material. So that's World War II material for Group C. And for Group C, I wanted them to look at women and war and the effect of women at war. And then I go back to arts and culture. I search for that. Wait for it to load. And then I get to see this one in particular is the one that I like because it's centered in the Philippines. And the photos actually are of Manila during World War II. So if you want to browse it, for example, you can see how it's actual pictures and even stories, for example, of how women were there during World War II. Since I want this, I'm going to just copy this link again using this. I go back to my classroom, put that link in, assign it to the next set of students. Of course, I'm using this arbitrarily, but you have to be very purposive when you assign it. Again, make sure that the topic is chosen so that it's archived properly in your classroom, and then I post. So now all my expert groups, or except Group D, no, because I haven't done that. Now all my expert groups now have access to two types of material. One is links to World War II materials, which is a massive or greater scheme of that particular time, and then a specific angle to that particular time. Now, if we go back to the slides that I've created for them, what they need to do is this. They need to go to the links that have been assigned to their groups, and then they take note of what is the important information. Vital is that I will give them time to share with their groups and discuss which notes to put in their slide. That action of giving them the material, both the macro and the small focused one, allows them to have that discussion. Ano ba talaga yung important na kailangan nilang i-share? And then they create their slide. So each of them start typing here what it is that they want to share. Now, this particular activity, normally I give them about an hour and a half, depending on the time that I have. So sometimes that's cut between different school days. But what I would like for them to do, it's important for me that in their discussions, they're able to show what it is that they think happened during that time. And so the discussion becomes richer and really fact-based because that's really important when looking at historical history in that perspective. And so they also decide what it is that they report. At the end of it, all the groups will have to present what it is that they have found about that particular theme or World War II, and then they get to share what it is that they know. You also have the option actually to allow them to move from one group to another. So let's say group A has three, and then also has group B, so let's say equal groups. I cut them up into different groups and then they share. Okay, so that way they're able to learn also from the other experts. So you have other options. And then they can show their slides and use the slides as a guide. So it becomes a presentation. And therefore, your discussion is no longer up to you, but also what knowledge it is that the students have created during their discussions as well. So that's it actually for my app smashing demo. So again, I really encourage you to look at Google Arts and Culture. And apart from all of the things, apart from the fact that you can push it to Google Classroom and you can actually use all the other tools in order to, enrich and learn, there are other materials here. So if, for example, you're not a history teacher, let's say you're a music teacher, you see here, this is about Chopin. And so it's actually a study or material of why he's so popular. Okay, so this is a video. Okay, this is a video about it, and you can use it actually for your study of um, this particular not writer composer there, sorry. You can also look Van Gogh, so this is the Starry Night, and you can have so many other things that you can look at. So for example, if you're looking at art movements for art, you can do what I did, the expert groups in terms of art movements. Okay, so let's say the Renaissance, Modernism, Surrealism, let's say pop art, which is something ito very interested ako in pop art. I really like Andy Warhol. And so it shows you all the different stories and pop art. Apart from that, it's not just the classics or the things or the other works no, that are featured here that are considered art. There's also lots of contemporary art that you can take a look at. And so even here, oh, may fashion na siya or fashion, the love affair between fashion and art. So there are many places that you can do. Meron ditong isa na sobrang gusto ko on street art kasi it actually teaches kids na, art is everywhere. So it's not just limited to what it is that you're studying. So may classes, pero meron din tayong contemporary art that you can find. Ang isa pang gusto ko is in the idea of places. Okay. If you look at the places, so you can look at it. So let's say if we go to Denmark, it just shows you here. Tapos, ito yung pinakagusto ko. You can look at it how it's organized. And I want it organized by time. So it can show you the history of the country in photos in that particular time. It's just taking a while to load, pero puno yan. Puno yang ilalim. So it's really important. It really is a good place for you to look at if you're looking for primary documents or primary texts for your children to study. Okay? And that's it for my app smashing demo. I hope may natutunan kayo at meron kayong nakita. Really explore Google Arts and Culture. There's a lot of things there, not just for history, music, and art, but also for all other teachers that might want to use the material for their classes. So thank you very much. If you have questions, please feel free to send them over through the comment section. Thank you.
All right, Miss Maan, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Jen, could I say that was game changing and history in the making?
Yes, Miss Pam. And nakakatuwa lang talagang isipin that ang dami kong na-realize na when we use Google Classroom and slides, they actually offer us numerous and innovative ways to make learning really interactive and collaborative, that even when our students stay at the comfort of their homes, the
Yes,
connection from their teachers is still possible. Diba?
yes.
Tamang-tama sa distance learning na kinakaharap natin ngayon. And from the term
Mm.
itself, Pam, classroom. So as teachers, para na rin natin silang kasama sa digital classroom nga lang, but same goal, di ba?
You wouldn't feel na nasa digital classroom sila. It's like you're
Oo.
still with them face to face, but in a different scenario, with a different feel, with all the technology and that. Ang lupit, Miss Maan.
Yes.
Pero ako talaga ano 'no, kasi dati hindi siya arts and culture 'no, it was a different
Ah,
platform. Pero really teachers
mm-mm.
ang dami niyong puwedeng makuha dito. Alam mo when I shared this with my teacher ang tawag nila sa kanila para siyang black hole of material. Kasi sobrang dami mong puwedeng makuha from Google Arts and Culture and it's available for free.
That's
So,
the big
hindi
word.
kailangan pa the free teachers. It's free for you. So, puwede-puwede niyo po siyang gamitin.
So, FREE, pwedeng gamitin, free, libre. Ayan.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking at the comment section and was like, looking for some questions or anything. But I guess, Miss Maan, napakalinaw ng sharing mo. Right? Well, ano lang, if and when lang, na nalate ang kanilang timing for the question, is there any possible way they could reach you out or what?
Yes, you can reach me through GEG Ortigas. I'll put the links, sige, as always, I'll put the link in the, share na lang po sa chat box. This is the link to GEG Ortigas. And then you can find me on Twitter. It's Maan STG. So you can just tweet or private message or direct message me. I'll definitely answer. I answer naman most of the time. There are other teachers, I think, from DepEd or have connections with GEG that I really don't know personally but have reached out to me. So hello sa inyo.
Yes.
So that's gonna be like a tweet and a DM away, right?
Ayan. Alam mo,
Yeah.
may nabasa ako, one of the many comments sa ating chat box. Sabi niya, panalo talaga sa timing ang topic na diniscuss. So, thank you so much po. Malaking tulong ito sa lahat ng viewers, particularly sa mga teachers na kagaya
Yes.
namin. So, hindi kami lahat aware actually, no? So, ito talaga, na-enlighten kami ngayong hapon. Maraming salamat po
Yes.
ulit.
And it's a
No
great way to
problem.
start the afternoon, di ba? Timing na timing sa tamang panahon sa akmang pagkakataon. Ganon na
Hey.
ganon. Okay. So, Miss Maan, again, thank you once more for sharing those to us. And maybe soon we could have more with you. Longer session, I believe.
Always welcome. Okay.
Thank
See
you
you guys.
so much. All right. So we say bye for now, but that wouldn't be the end for us na mapapakinggan ulit natin si Miss Maan. But this
Yeah.
time, we're gonna be making way for another speaker. Grabe itong session natin na to, no, Jen? Punong-puno ng mga speaker.
Oo, actually kahit tayo nagugulat din 'no, madami rin tayong natututunan.
Ganun daw talaga. Minsan, ang pagkatuto, nakukuha mo sa ibang tao. Kailangan
Yeah.
mong makinig dahil sila ang mas nakakakita kung ano ang para sa'yo.
Ay, gusto ko 'yun.
Oh, yan. Kaya naman, this time, we would all have the chance to listen to our next speaker. So if you would allow me, Jen, I would introduce this man, okay? Na he's one of OER National Core Leader, Microsoft Education Ambassador, a graduate of BSED General Science at the Philippine Normal University North Luzon Campus, a Google Certified Educator Level 1, Microsoft Office Specialist, Microsoft Certified Educator, Microsoft Innovative Educator, Adobe Creative Educator Level 1. At currently, he's teaching at Pato National High School, SDO Santiago City, and an EdTech specialist as well. Ayan, kanina nakausap na natin siya, Jen. And gusto ko nga sana siyang makita face-to-face. Ayan. At
Ako din.
makasama din face-to-face sa pagtatrabaho. I've heard a lot of good things about this man. Okay. And with that, all right, so to our participants and friends, okay, our next speaker who would be generous enough to discuss and share on how to engage with Hyperdocs, forms, and drawings. If you're ready, let's welcome Sir Earl Aaron Villanosa, a virtual clap.
Hello po, ma'am.
Hi!
Ay, hello po.
Nag-iba yung mic ko. Hi!
Bakit nga ba, Pam? Parang medyo naging energetic ka lalo, ah.
Hindi
Oo,
kanina
sa
umaga
bagay.
kasi, he was really very kind enough to assist tayong dalawa agad. Di ba, sir?
Yes.
Yes,
Oo,
ma'am.
si Sir pala yung boses na naririnig ko kanina.
Now you
Mas
know.
maganda talaga kapag ka nakikita yung face.
Oo, kasi ibig sabihin, harap-harapan mo na rin nakikilala agad. At ngayon,
Ayan.
sa pagkakatitig pa lang natin kay Sir, alam na agad natin na marami tayong matututuhan ngayong araw. So, Sir, we're giving the floor to you.
Sige po. So, thank you po, Ma'am Pam and Ma'am Jen. And hopefully po, malinaw po yung mic ko at may deliver ko ng hindi naglalag yung presentation kasi medyo kumulimlim dito nung ngayong hapon pa. Biglang naglalag naman na ako. Sana hindi. Yan. So, pasensya na sa angle ng camera, nasa baba kasi. Now, I'm going to share my screen na po. So, yan. Thank you po sa ating webinar director. Yan. So, we'll be talking about a topic today, which is engage with Hyperdocs. And then gagamitin po natin ang docs, forms, and drawings. Pero hindi lang po yun yung makikita natin mamaya kasi itong Hyperdocs na to talagang interactive. Like, kasi, ano bang term? Nag-refresh din ako dito eh. Yun siguro yung term. Nag-refresh din ako kasi I already made a Hyperdocs. Siguro matagal na rin. Hindi ko na siya na-update. Pero I've tried creating na rin. Then, yun, nung sabi, binigay sa akin yung topic nito, ay, kailangan ko mag-refresh para naman may deliver ko to na maayos. Especially sa ating mga teachers na manonood ngayon. And hopefully, makatulong itong Hyperdocs na to sa inyo. Especially sa mga students nyo. Siyempre, to engage them. Yeah. Now, in our presentation ngayon. So, this is our objectives. The first one is to define Hyperdocs. Yan. And the next one is to explore Hyperdocs samples. So, we'll be looking at different Hyperdocs mamaya. May mga samples tayo. And then, we're going to link packages in Hyperdocs and create a sample Hyperdocs. Yan. So, gagawa rin tayo ng sample talaga natin. Kasi, para naman makita natin kung paano ba nilalagay yung mga laman nitong Hyperdocs na to. Yeah. Now, so here, I have my own. Ayan. This is a slide Hyperdoc actually. Itong ginawa kong sample na to. This is a slide Hyperdocs na hopefully matutunan nyo rin na gawin. Madali lang naman siya. Pag na-demo naman na natin yung paggawa ng Hyperdocs sa ating Google Docs. Yan. Dito, makukuha nyo na rin yung idea paano ba ginawa itong Hyperdocs na to. Yung iba kasi, nakakatawa nga iba yung gumagawa nito pag nung gumawa kami ng sample nito. Yung iba, very advanced na yung Hyperdocs nila. Yung iba, mukha siyang game. Ganun. Mukhang game ang ano niya. Yan. Ito naman parang may mga task dito na kailangan gawin yan. So, pagkakita pa lang ng estudyante natin, yan, sa mga ganyan, pag nakita nila, syempre matutuwa sila dyan. Yan. Kasi, uy, ano to? Diba? Pag ina nila. So, let's look at Hyperdocs now. So, we have here, the first one, what is Hyperdocs? Yan. So, when I move this here, yan, makita nyo, pag clinic ko, ayan, ayan, so, lalabas ito, it will make a copy. Yan. Saglit lang po. Yan. So, nakikita naman. Yan. Just checking. So, it will make a copy kagad nung nakalink sa kanya na material. So, pag click ko yung make a copy, yan. Ituturo ko rin mamaya yan kung paano nagkakaroon ng pag-clinic yung material is magkakaroon ng make a copy. And then, napansin nyo, yan, automatic copy of what is Hyperdocs. Yan. So, we have here now, yan. So, pag clinic ng bata yan, ito kagad yung makikita niya. So, what is a Hyperdocs? Now, so, i-ano lang natin. What do you call this? Ulit lang po hindi sumusunod yung mouse ko ng tama. Ayan. Naglalag. Ayan, so ayan. Ayan. Ayan, okay na. Medyo nahuhuli kanina. So, what is Hyperdocs? So, Hyperdocs are digital lesson plans that are designed by teachers and given to students. They provide access to students to all content and learning in one organized digital space. Yeah. And Hyperdocs shift instruction by giving students the content to explore before direct instruction. Yeah. And by asking students to apply also their learning using 4Cs. Yan. Take note po, 21st century skills for learning, ito importante sa mga bata ngayon. The 4Cs, ito yung kailangan nila para matuto sila ng 21st century skills natin ngayon, which is, the first one is critical thinking, then communication, collaboration, and creativity. Yes, they can do that kapag gumawa tayo ng Hyperdocs. Yan. And then Hyperdocs is a transformative interactive Google Doc replacing the worksheet method of delivering instruction in the ultimate change age and it is also the ultimate change agent in the blended learning classroom. Yan. Especially ngayon, pag gumagamit na talaga tayo ng blended learning, nagiging interactive siya kung dinidesign natin yung itong module na to as Hyperdocs. Yan. Or yung kanina, yung presentation ko, it is already designed as a Hyperdoc. Yan. Slides nga lang yung ginamit ko. Now, and then, by the way, ito yung reference ko, yung pinagkuhanan ko, yan. So, naka-indicate din dyan. So, pag connect ko rin yan, nakikita nyo, may nakalink sa kanya na reference yan. So, yan. Yan. So, when I go there, yan, diretso siya dito kung saan nanggaling yung material. So, yung bata, yan, pwede pa siyang mag-explore ulit. Yan. Kasi nilink ko yung kung saan galing itong reference na to. Yan. So that's one thing, di ba? Sa atin, di ba, pag when we're giving modules, alam ko nagbibigay tayo ng digital modules sa mga bata. But the digital modules na binibigay natin sa kanila is in PDF form, di ba? And then andun lang sila, nagbabasa lang sila, nakakulong pa rin sila dun sa module na yun na PDF form. Now the beauty of Hyperdocs, yan. Tama nga yung sinabi ng speaker natin kanina na you can actually create infinite or black hole of information here, infinite information links sa mga ganitong klaseng material like the Hyperdocs. Now, another one here, there's also a linked video. Yan. Yan. Papakita natin mamaya kung paano ginagawa po yan. So when I click here, and nilink ko silang dalawa. So kahit ano i-click nung bata. So when I click here, yan. Diretso siya. So, ayan po siya.
Week 5 of this course. This is our final lesson together, and I'm excited to introduce a new topic. So we're going to be talking about their digital.
Ayan. So, thank you po sa owner ng video na to. Kasi ginamit ko siya. So, we have here, yan, si Sir Jan Sowash. So, thank you, sir. So, it is linked here. Ganun din dito. Nilink ko rin dito yung video na to para kung ano yung click ng bata. Halimbawa, pag click ko rin yan. So, yan. Ito rin siya.
Okay.
So, the same. So, that's one thing. So bukod sa text, ayan. Bakit ko ginawa ito? Para makita rin natin na bukod sa text, pwede rin tayong mag-link sa mga images natin ng mga materials. Yan. And take note, depende sa package natin or sa package ng materials ang gagamitin natin. So, importante na dapat alam din natin yung mga package ng materials na gagawin natin. Nang sa gayon, pag ginawa natin itong Hyperdocs, hindi tayo mahihirapan. So, that's one thing. So, and then, kung napansin nyo dito, may notes part. Yan. Para talaga sa mga estudyante. Like, for example, kung, what do you call this? Kung nabasa na nila to, yan, they can actually make notes. Yan. And then, the good thing is, sa kanila to kasi nag-create sila ng copy, yung notes na to. And if they want, yan, they can share it to you. Yan. Yan. Pwede nilang i-share yan. Or, if they have groups, yan, mga kaklase nila, yan, they can share it to people. Yan, sa mga kaklase nila. Like, for example, yan, si Ma'am Weng, yan, i-share ko sa kanya. Yan. And then, lagyan natin dito. Yan. Share natin kay Sir James. Share din natin kay Sir Eugene. Yan. Yung mga kasama ko sa ICT. Hello po sa inyo. Share natin kay Sir Ian. Yan. And siyempre kay Sir Christian. Yan. Share natin yung mga yan. Tama ba? Ay, parang mali. Yan. So ganun siya. So, you can share it. Na-discard ko, sorry. But you can share. Pero once na ma-share natin yan, we just click done. Pag na-click na natin yan, ma-share na sa kanila yan. Kahit kay Ma'am Weng na lang muna, share natin. So, and then send natin. You can choose either editor sila. Siyempre, kung magko-collaborate kayo, yan, pwede nyo gawing editor. Pero kung si teacher gusto nyo, kung isi-share naman kay teacher, kung gusto nyo magko-comment lang siya, yan, pwedeng commenter siya. Yan. So, since gusto ko mag-collab kami ni ma'am, yan, so gagawin kong, yan, isi-send ko sa kanya. So, ma-access niya na to. Pwede na kami mag-take or mag-notes ditong dalawa. Yan. Ganon din sa mga classmates ko. So, that's the beauty of Hyperdocs. So, hopefully, na-define natin ang Hyperdocs. Kung ano ito, yan. Pero syempre, hindi lang naman definition dapat ang i-check natin. Syempre, dapat makita natin ano bang itsura or ano bang design ng mga Hyperdocs natin. Kasi ito is just a simple one na magagamit nga naman ng estudyante. Ayan. And then, by the way, kung napansin nyo, medyo pinalitan ko yung background nito. Ayan. Pinalitan ko yung background para medyo mas appealing sa mata. Di ba? Ewan ko kung medyo boring yung dating ng kulay. Pero ito kasi yung feel kong kulay, no? Kaya ito yung nilagay ko. Yan. So, yan. Pwede rin natin palitan yan. So mamaya, tuturo ko rin yan sa inyo. So, next. Yan. So, going back in my presentation. So, let's look at what do Hyperdocs look like. So, ano ba itsura nila? So, when I click this, by the way, I can also click this yan. Dalawa silang nilink ko. Yan. Kasi sabi ko sa inyo, pwede ako mag-link ng material sa mga images or text. Yan. Dito, both yung mga ginamit ko dito. Yan. And then, if you see here, gumamit din ako ng Bitmoji. Yan. You can add this in your Chrome store. Yan. Magandaan dito sa Bitmoji ng nasa Chrome store natin. Nag-generate talaga siya nung kung ano yung gustong hanapin natin. Yan. Yan. Tinype ko lang yan. Halimbawa ito. Naglagay lang ako ng question. Yan. Dito sa Bitmoji extension na to. Yan. So lumabas na itsura na yan. Like for example, ito search naman yan. So ganun siya. So going back, yan. So ito na naman. Sabi niya make a copy ulit. Yan. Nag-automatic siyang make a copy. Hindi, kung napansin niyo, 'di ba hindi siya yung 'di ba pag nagli-link tayo minsan, pag open is mismong yung nang mag-open. Yung file na mismo. Pero ito ginawa kong automatic na make a copy siya. So another one, so yan. So what do Hyperdocs look like? So that's a question a while ago. Now, Hyperdocs are digital lessons designed by teachers, yan, and given to students. And what platform you choose to design them is up to you. So depende kung anong platform mo sila gagamitin. Kung anong platform mo siya i-design. Now, how you choose to get them to students is also up to you. So depende rin kung paano natin sila i-share sa mga students. You can add them syempre. For example, sa Google Classroom, kung meron kayong Google Classroom, yan. Pwede nyo isama tong Hyperdocs doon. Para yung material natin, hindi lang siya simply reading material, but actually an interactive material for students. And then, the most popular platform used, ayan, is Google Docs and Google Sites. Ayan, kung napansin nyo. So, and then, pag napansin nyo, dito sa Google Docs and Google Slides, naka-blue siya. Ibig sabihin, may link din sa kanya. So, pag, ano ba, kung hindi alam ni estudyante, ano ba Google Docs, ano ba Google Slides? So, pag click niya yan, ayan, lalabas itong YouTube video. Ayan, lalabas yung YouTube video. Beginner's Guide to Google Docs. So, that's another thing yan. So, yun ang kagandahan dito, di ba? Kung may mga unfamiliar things sa kanila, yan, you can add this one yan, sa kanila para mas maging engaging or mas maintindihan nila. Like, for example, Google Slides. So, ano gumamit ng Google Slides? Like, for example, tanong nila yun. Ang alam ko, PowerPoint. Parehas lang kaya siya ng PowerPoint. So, pag clinic nila yan, may tutorial din.
In today's video, I'm going to...
So, napansin nyo, yan. So, it is linked there. So, mamaya, papakita nga natin kung paano yung mga yan. Now, continuing, yan. So, napansin nyo, may notes pa rin dyan. Yan. So, pwede pa rin sila maglagay ng notes pag na ano nila. And then, I added some additional resources. Yan. Which is create a Hyperdocs. So, pag clinic ko yan, so, tingnan natin kung anong ano niya. So, I'm redirected to TC Hyperdocs. Yan. TCEA Hyperdocs. Yan. So, here, it teaches you how to create a Hyperdocs. Yan. Etong link na to. So bukod dito, yan, di ba? What do Hyperdocs look like? Ayan. Diniscuss niya. But furthermore, etong additional resources na to, ayan, di ba? Pag clinic ng estudyante or clinic nung binigyan mo ng material, yan. it will actually be linked here. Yan. So ito siya. So here is a site yan where we can actually see paano ba gumagawa ng hyperdocs. So sabi niya, create a hyperdoc. The first one is determine your learning objectives. So ito yung una. Yan. Pag nag-search kayo ng iba't ibang mga resources, ito rin talaga yung mostly. Kaya ito yung pinili ko. Kasi mostly, ito yung binibigay nila na idea paano gumawa ng hyperdocs. Yan. So first one, sabi ko nga, determine your learning objective. So medyo palaking nga natin. Yan, para hindi tayo Yan. Determine your learning objectives. Then the next one is select which cycle you will use. Yan. Anong cycle ba? So and then pansin niyo may mga link na rin diyan, hindi na tayo mahirapan. And then select your packaging. Yan. So, mga packaging, ito yung mga tools na gagamitin mo. Like for example, gusto mo ba ng Google Docs na packaging ng Hyperdocs mo na nandyan na lahat? Google Slides, yan. Google Forms, Sites, Maps, yan. So, nakadepende sa atin. But take note, sabi kanina, ang most popular na ginagamit, itong dalawa, Google Docs and Google Slides as Hyperdocs. And then build the workflow. Ayan. Like for example, ito, yan, parang yan, ito. Pasensya na kung palipat-lipat po ako ng tab. Ayan. Workflow. Ayan, kung napansin niyo, may workflow para sa mga gustong matuto ng Hyperdocs. Ayan, di ba? Dinefine natin, pinakita natin kung ano yung itsura niya. Then, may checkpoint part pa yan mamaya. Kung, halimbawa, a short quiz, siyempre, para malaman kung naintindihan ba nila or hindi. And then, siyempre, may workshop din. And then, siyempre, ayan. Finally, ayan. Tapos mo na Hyperdocs. Ayan. So, balik tayo. So, build the workflow. Yan. Yung design natin, syempre. Design your hyperdocs. Syempre, ano ba yung magiging itsura niya? Then, evaluate your hyperdocs. Yan. So, ito yung mostly dapat nating tandaan. Yan. Pero dito pa lang, una pa lang, syempre, determine your learning objective. Yan. Ito, dapat tandaan lagi natin yan. Yung first part na yan. So, that's the additional source. Now, besides from the additional source that we have, we also have, yan, pakiramdam ko, pati ito, maliit kanina. Yan, sige, palakihin natin para hindi mahirapan yung mga audience natin. Yan. So, yan. So, hopefully, medyo, na. Yan. So, first one, we have science and sample ito. And then, pag click ko yan, so, automatic, gagawa siya ng copy. Yan. By the way, galing ito kanina sa hyperdoc.co. Yung first na pinuntahan ko kaninang link. Yan. Galing itong sample na to. So, kung napansin nyo, this is a sample sa science. Yan. Napansin nyo, ayan. May learning objective siya. Siyempre, alam niyo yan. Then, ito yung workflow na ginawa niya. Yan. Tapos yung design, nandyan na rin. Yan. So, napansin nyo, first one, yan. Engage part. So, once na-click yan, ayan, pansin nyo, may nakalink din sa picture. Ayan. So, pag click ng bata, automatic, yung nakalink na yan, makapanood niya. Ayan. And then next, ayan, click natin. Kung papansin natin, ayan, may commercial.
911, lucky share emergency. Live murder.
Click lang natin. Ayan. So, pag tinignan natin, ayan. So, umpisa pa lang, di ba? Ang ganda na ng pasok sa lesson natin kasi nagpakita ka na kagad ng video presentation sa bata. Yan. And then next, yan. Next one, and to explore, yan. Ito yung kanyang activity sa explore. Kung papansin natin. Yan. Kung napansin nyo, hindi siya nag-make a copy, no? Yan. Hindi siya nag-make a copy. It's okay kung ayaw nyo mag-make a copy. Yan. Pero instructan yung estudyante nyo kung gusto nyong mag-submit sila ng separate. Yan. Pwedeng ganun ang gawin nila. So, here, ayan. Kung napansin nyo, yan. Ito yung activity niya sa, sa explore. Yan. And then, ayan. Yan siya. Yan. Click here to know the standard. So, pag click, yan. So, ito siya. So, may nakalink din bawat yan sa activity niya. And then, napansin nyo, meron din siyang notes. Yan. Tulad ng pinakita ko kanina, may notes, di ba? So, pwedeng mag-note na dito yung bata kung ano yung nakuha niya dito sa activity or kung ano yung naintindihan niya sa activity. Yan. And then choose a topic to research. Yan. So yan. Pansin nyo, may link din dyan. Yan. So ang nilink nyo naman dito, yan, is a Google slide. So yan. So pwede rin tayo mag-link ng mga ganyan. So ito na yung topic nila. So ayan, pansin nyo, groupings na sila. Yan. So yan. So next. And then apply. Yan. Yan, kung napansin nyo. Yan. Infographic using. Yan. Pwede rin sila mag-link mismo ng site na pwede nilang ipa-visit sa estudyante, di ba? Pwede sila mag-link ng site. Like for example, kung gusto mo i-link dito yung Canva, gusto mo silang pagawin ng digital poster, you can use Canva or Adobe Spark. Yan. Sa mga nila, sa infographic nila. So tignan natin take note, ano yung mga nakalink dito, balikan natin. So just a temperature check lang po sa atin. So una, di ba, naglagay siya ng video. Yan. And then meron siya ditong activity na Google Docs. Yan. Nilink niya. And then inside the activity, may mga nakalink din na sources na pwedeng puntahan ng bata para mas maintindihan. And then, nag-link din siya ng Google Slide. So pwede rin mag-link ng Google Slide. And then, isa pa is an online application or an application na pwedeng gamitin ng estudyante. So ganun yung mga pwede nating i-link. And then, yan. And then one person from the group needs to fill out this form. So pag clinic natin yan, pansin nyo, may nakalink din na Google form yan, pero hindi na yata functional yan. Yan. So, ayan. So, and then, para na makita nila yung response sa mga creation nila, ayan. Binigyan din sila. Yan, di ba? Yan. So napansin nyo, bukod sa dito, application na pwedeng gamitin yan, pwede rin si Google Form. And then reflect on your work on a 90-second Flipgrid. Ayan, si Flipgrid, naka-insert din siya. Which is, mamaya ituturo po sa atin ng isa natin speaker, yung MAPE teacher natin, paano niya ba ginagamit itong Flipgrid na to. So, pag tinik natin, pasensya na medyo dumidigay din ako. Ayan. So, and then, ayan, to extend, syempre, ayan, naglagay siya ng laro sa mga bata. Ayan. Online game discussion. Ayan. So that is the design of, ayan. Kung napansin nyo, isang page lang siya. Pero pag clinic ng bata or pag in-explore ng bata, sangkatutak na information ang dala-dala nito sa kanya. So, hopefully nakakuha tayo ng idea paano ba tayo nagde-design ng ating Hyperdocs. Yan. And then, close natin. Yan. Let's look at math. Yan. Tingnan rin naman natin itong math. So, and make a copy ulit. Yan. Yan. Hindi pa tagal mag-load. Yan. So, dito naman, ito naman siya. So, geometry with coding, robots, and more. Yeah. So, dito pa lang, yan. May link na kagad siya. Yan. So, naglagay siya ng instructions. So, napansin nyo? Yan. Naglagay siya kagad ng instructions. And then, ito yung discover part. Yan. And then, yan. Napansin nyo, ang ginagawa niya naman per table. Yan. Magkakahiwalay na table ang ginawa niya. Yan. Itong math natin. So yan. So, kung mapapansin nyo, yan. Still, mga activity niya, yan. Diyan pa rin. So, may nakalink din na video. Yan. Pansin nyo, image ng video. Pag clinic ng bata, yan. Kukuha niya. So all in all, yan. Ito yung mga sample design natin ng Hyperdocs na pwede natin gawin sa estudyante. Now, since may idea na tayo, ano ba yung mga Hyperdocs natin or sample design natin, syempre mamaya sa workshop natin, dapat may makuha rin tayo, di ba? Na idea or makagawa rin tayo ng sarili nating Hyperdocs. Yan. Now, going back, yan. So, close ko na yan. Close ko rin yan. So, going back to my presentation. So, checkpoint, yan. Sa checkpoint, papansin nyo kung ano in-insert ko dito. Yan. Google Form. Yan. Ito lang na may laman ng checkpoint. Hindi ko na siya nilagyan ng questions. Gusto ko lang ipakita dito sa sa Hyperdocs ko na slides ay pwede ang Google Form na ilagay. Yan. Pakita ko rin paano yan gumagana mamaya. And yung slide features ni Google Form sa inyo, papakita rin ako mamaya. So, ayan. Ano pansin nyo? Ayan. It requires, ayan, yung first name, ayan. And then, name of school, and then yung date. Yan lang. Yan lang yung laman. It's like an attendance lang. Ayan. Ayan. So kung gusto nyo, ayan, dito, halimbawa, di ba, nilagay ko yung checkpoint dito. If you want, pwedeng ilagay nyo sa unahan, palitan nyo ng attendance sa mga bata. Halimbawa, yung mga bata gusto nyong malaman kung sino ba yung nag-check nitong Hyperdocs nyo. Sino nag-check or sinong tag dito, nag-aral. Yan. Pwedeng lagay nyo in a form of attendance. Ito. Yan. Sa una, lagay nyo attendance. Yan. Then, start na kayo sa design nyo. Yan. Para sa mga estudyante natin. So yan. So, I'll be showing later paano ba yan. And then, in the workshop part, syempre, yan na. Ito na, gagawa na tayo. So, you can actually follow me sa workshop natin para hindi kayo mahirapan sa paggagawa na kayo ng sarili nyong Hyperdocs. Yan. Buksan ko lang yung ito. Yan. Dapat pala hindi ko na-close. Yan. Kukuha kasi ng mga sample din dito. Yan. Open lang natin. Sige. Habang kayo po nag-open din ng inyong Google Docs. Yan. Yan. O-open ko lang din yung mga materials na kailangan ko para naman magamit ko din mamaya sa papagawa natin sa gagawin nating Hyperdocs. Yan. And then ito na rin. Yan. Yan na. Gamitin na natin yan. Yan. So, in the workshop part, yan, pag click ko yan. So, this is my own copy ng aking Hyperdocs. Yan. Siyempre, yan. Dapat alam na natin yung objectives natin, di ba? So, sabihin ko sa akin, objectives ko, yan, is to create a Hyperdocs. Yan. So paano nga ba? Paano nga ba natin sisimulan? If you want to change yung background natin para medyo appealing yung dating sa mga estudyante natin or sa mga gustong mag-check ng Hyperdocs natin, you just go first to File. Yan, click lang natin yung File, then Page Setup. Ulitin ko po Go to File, then Page Setup. Yan. And then yung page color, yan, pwede niyong palitan. Yan. Siguro kung saan ba ako? Ano bang gusto kong kulay ngayon? Ayan. Siguro dito. Dito ako. Ayan. Ano bang kulay yan? Hindi ko na maaninag. Ayan. Light cornflower blue. Ayan. Yan siya. And then, siguro gusto kong gawin na ang margin ko medyo maluwang. Ayan. Gawin ko 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. And then, okay. Yan. Pansin nyo, medyo lumuwang na siya. So, eto na yung kulay ng document ko ngayon. Yan. Hindi na siya plain white. Diba? Medyo mas ano na siya. So, sabihin natin, una, syempre, lagay mo yung topic mo. Yan. Ano ba yung topic mo? Sabihin natin, creating Hyperdocs. So, ganyan. And then, if you want, yan, pwede nating palitan ng font. Yan. Yan. Kung wala kang gustong font dito, yan, punta ka sa more fonts. Yan. Sa akin, lalagay ko na yung Bookman. Yan. And then, this one, yan. For the sake of presentation, lalakihan ko na lang siya. For the sake of my presentation, yan, lalakihan ko siya. And then, isi-center ko siya. Yan. So, yan yung topic ko. So, topic, creating Hyperdocs. So, ganyan siya. So, or, siguro kahit wala na yung word na topic, tanggalin ko na lang. Yan na lang. So, yan na. Creating Hyperdocs. So, yan siya. And then, mapapansin nyo, galaw ng galaw to. Automatically, kasi, sinesave niya lahat ng gawa mo pag dito ka gumagawa. Then, yan. Lagyan natin 24. Yan, siguro 24. Then, sabihin natin maglagay tayo dito ng, ayan, yung question kanina. Ito. What is a Hyperdoc? Yan. Yan, yung first question kanina eh. So, lagay lang natin dito. Mag-insert ako ng table. And then copy ko lang to. What is a hyperdoc? Yan. And then paste ko siya. So yan siya. And then sabihin ko, notes pa rin ito. Kasi gusto kong maglagay sila ng notes dito. Yung mga mag-a-access nitong file ko. Para kapag may gusto silang matandaan, syempre, magte-take notes sila. Then tab lang. Yan. Para lumabas yung isang part pa ng table natin. Then, ganun din. Ito kasi, itong reference ko. Yan, pag clinic ko kasi. Yan, diretso na ako dito muna sa reference. Yan. If you want, saan na? Ito, workshop sample. If you want to, syempre, make your own definition of hyperdocs, yan. You can get the G's here, yung kung ano yung mga importante, and then ilagay natin dito. Yan. Yung akin, hindi ko, ni-reward ko lang din yung iba dito. Yan, nag-reward lang din ako para ilagay siya dito. My definition came from here. Yan. And then ni-reward ko lang siya. Yan. Reward ba? Ang tawag doon. Medyo minodify ko lang siya ng konti. Yan. Minodify ko lang siya ng konti para naman mas simple maintindihan. Yan. So pwedeng ganoon din ang gawin nyo. Or siguro kung gusto nyo, copy nyo na lang. Yan. Ganoon din. Pwede rin naman. So, sa akin, since ito na yung ginawa ko, yan. Copy ko lang siya. Copy ko lang. Pero sa inyo, sabi ko nga, if dito manggagaling, you need to copy it here. Yan. Kung gusto nyong dyan ang galing na. And then paste. Yan. So, yan siya. Ganun siya. And then, ano yung website niya kanina? Yan. Website niya, yan. Ito yung reference ko. www.hyperdocs.co. Yan. Lagay natin. So, docs.co. Kung papansin nyo, yan, walang nakalagay na link. Yan. Kahit na tinype ko na siya. Yan. So, paano tayo maglalagay ng link? Yan. So, paliitin ko lang din to. Yan. Now, to add link, i-highlight natin and then click natin tong link. Ayan, insert link. Itong parang chain sa dito. Yan, nandito po siya katabi ng katabi siya nitong add comment, yan. And then highlight color. So ito siya. So pag tinik ko yan, yan. Yan, nag-automatic siya. Nag-automatic siya ng link. So dapat kasi pag click ko to, yan. Click ko yan, copy ko yan. Then i-click ko, yan, ito siya. So pag pinis ko siya, ayan, and then apply. Ito na siya. So pag clinic na ng estudyante, ayan, didiretso na siya dito. Ayan, kung saan yung material parehas. So ulitin ko lang ha. So highlight natin, then click natin ito, then i-paste natin kung ano yung link or yung reference natin. Ayan. So ganun siya. So ganun lang. The next, I want to add a video. Yan. Siyempre, gusto ko maglagay ng video. So, paano ba yung itong part na to? Yan. So, here, in my Hyperdocs again, yan. Insert lang ako ng insert table. Yan. And then, ano nakalagay doon? Watch the video. So, lalagay ko, watch the video. Then, ganun pa rin, notes pa rin. Para nung sa gayon, may notes yung mga estudyante ko. Good lang po Init kasi. Yan. So here, yan, get started with Hyperdocs. So yun yung title kasi. So lagay ko, get started with Hyperdocs. Yan. So, ilagay ko na siya dito para hindi maputol mamaya. So here, i-click ko na to para mapunta ko na yung link. So ganun pa rin. So i-copy ko to. Yan, copy ko. Then highlight ko yan. Then add link again. Then apply. So, ayan na siya. So, that's adding link to text again. Now, paano yung picture kanina? So, anong ginawa ko sa picture? Dito sa picture, yan, naghanap lang ako ng part niya. Yan, ng part niya. Depende sa kung anong gusto mong hanapin na part. Para maging, dito? Para maging muka ng video mo. Siguro yung term ko, muka niya. And then, pag I just use a snipping tool. Yan. And then, yan. Ito lang siya. So, snip ko lang siya. Yan. And then, copy. And then, ito siya. Paste ko siya. Yan. Ito na siya. So, this is our video. I'm sorry. This is the image pa lang pala. Sorry. Di pa ito yung video. Sorry. This is our image. Now, gusto ko rin na kapag clinic ng bata to, gusto ko rin magkaroon to ng link. So, ganun pa rin. Pag clinic ko to, yan, dapat i-click ko siya. And then, andito na yung link button ko. And then, ganun ulit. Copy ko. And then, paste. And then, apply. So, the same. Pag ito yung naklik ng bata, ayan, the same pa rin. Makukuha niya yung video. And then, may notes pa rin siya. So, depende sa atin kung paano natin i-design. So, ganun lang kasimple. We just add link sa ating Hyperdocs. Ayan. Ayan. Next. Ayan. Nasaan yung isa nating material? Ayan. So, the same here. Ayan. Kung gusto naman natin na maglagay tayo ng, halimbawa, dito tayo, the same pa rin sa text natin. Gusto natin maglagay, halimbawa, definition ng Hyperdocs. Yan. Highlight lang natin yung gusto nating text. Then, link tayo. Yan. Then, binura ko pala yan. Binura ko pala yung sa ano ng Hyperdocs. Yan. Binura ko siya. Yan. So, yan siya. So, link tayo. Kung open lang natin. Open na nga natin dito. Yan. So, ganun. Kung dito naman gusto nyo, yan, highlight nyo lang. Pwede rin ganito ang gawin nyo. Yan. Link. Pwedeng right-click. Or yung ginagawa ko, ito, dito nang gagaling. So, copy ko. Then, link. Ganun lang. Yan. Kung gusto nyo naman, ayan, yung mga text. Di ba, may unfamiliar sa kanila. Ayan. Di ba, unfamiliar, ginamit nyo yung term na Hyperdocs, hindi nyo siya dinefine, ginamit nyo lang. Unfamiliar sa kanila. Yan. Pwedeng ganun. So, ganun siya. Now, next. What if, gusto ko maglagay, syempre, ng, tulad nung kanina, yung sa science, sa pansin nyo, may Google form, di ba? Meron dun yung mga pwede nilang sagutan. Yan. Or pwedeng as survey or feedback form. Yan. Pwedeng ganun. Now, paano naman kung gusto ko ng link ng Google Form? Di ba? So, let's say, bigyan ko ng instructions. Importante po pala, pag gumagawa tayo ng Hyperdocs, yan, hindi ko yata na kanina, may instructions dapat tayo. Yan. May instructions tayo dito mismo sa ginagawa natin, digital module natin. Para na sa gayon, alam ng bata yung gagawin niya. Yan. Parang yan, watch the video. Yan, yung instructions. So, click the form. Sabihin natin, to assess your knowledge. Yan, sabihin natin may short quiz ka. So, sabihin natin, ito siya. So, lagay ko lang ito na ang ita-title natin dito. Yan. Hyperdocs quiz 1. Yan. Sabihin natin yan. So, itong ginawa kong form, yan. Open ko pala mismo yung form. Hindi pala ito yung editable. Wait lang. Open natin yung editable na form. Saan na siya? Yung Google form ko. Yan. Open natin siya. And then, ito. Yeah. So, ito. So, this one, so pag gusto kong i-link doon, yan. Itong send button, click ko yan. And then, click natin. And then, pwede natin i-shorten yung URL kung gusto natin. Or kung gusto nyo i-direct copy, pwede naman. Diba? Sa akin, i-shorten ko na lang. Then, kakopy ko na lang siya. Yan, copied na siya. Then, ayan, ililink ko siya dito. So, pag pinaste ko, ayan, then apply. So, ganun siya. So, napansin nyo, hindi na lang siya plain module na, or hindi na lang siya plain digital module sa mga bata. Actually, you're adding something to it na mas matututo pa sa kanila. Mas matututo pa sila. Yan. And then kagandahan nga dito, yan, they can share it. Ayan, pwede sila mag-collaborate. Yun ang isang kagandahan. Yun talagang isang dinideliver sa atin ni Google to help our students collaborate, communicate. And then syempre, to be critical thinkers. Yan. And then to be creative syempre. So that's Hyperdocs. Yan. So that's Google Form for you. Yan. And then, yan, syempre may Hyperdocs na tayo. Yan, yay, di ba? Meron na tayong simpleng Hyperdocs. Yan. If you want samples, actually marami siya sa internet. Kung gusto niyo makita ng mga samples, you can search. Yan. Nakadepende kayo sa atin kung paano natin i-design yung ating Hyperdocs. Kung gusto niyo siyang, let's say yung module mismo, gusto niyo siyang i-transform na Hyperdocs, wala naman siguro masama doon na you'll just add information lalo dun sa mga unfamiliar words sa module natin. Yan. Yan. So, ganun siya. So, next. Yan. So, since tapos na tayo sa workshop, yan. Siyempre, finally, pag clinic na yan, yan. Anong makuha ng bata? Yan. Yan. Binigyan ko siya ng badge. Yan. Yan. Ito ay ano lang. Maganda kasi itong pang-motivate po sa mga estudyante natin. Napansin nyo yung dulo ng Hyperdocs na slides. Nakakuha siya ng badge niya. Parang bragging rights to sa bata Actually, this is a good intrinsic motivation sa mga estudyante natin. Na once they complete something, yan, they can actually earn this badge. Yan. So, ganun siya. So saan naman gawa to? Yan. Saan gawa to? Yan. I'll be teaching you also this one. Yan, kasama kasi to. Google Drawings natin. Familiar ba kayo doon? Yan. Doon ko lang siya ginawa. Actually, nandun na lahat ng kailangan ko para magawa tong badge na to. Yan. Papakita natin mamaya yung sample niyan. So, we're done dito sa part na to. Yan. Pinakita na rin natin yung sa part ng pwedeng insert ang Google Form. Yan. Pansin nyo. And then, syempre, gusto rin natin pakita paano nga ba nagawa yan. And then, downloadable siya. Pwede siya download. Yan. Pag ng bata, yan, magagamit niya. Or pwede niya i-post kung gusto niya, di ba? So, let's look at Google Drawings. Yan. So, yun na yung next part ko. Yan. Diretso na ako dito. Yan. Dito na lang ako sa Drive. And medyo madami-dami yung laman. And then, when you go to Google Drawings, more options, then, yan. So, Google Drawings, yan. Pag click natin, yan. Ito na siya. Ito na siya. Google Drawings, yan. Kala ko naglo-load pa. Yan na nga pala siya, sorry. Hinintay ko mag-load. Ang ina-expect ko lalabas itong badge ko. Yan, kaya medyo na-delay, parang na-delay ako magsalita. Yan. Mga pala, yan na pala siya. Yan. So, sa Google Drawings natin, meron tayo itong tinatawag natin na canvas natin na pwede nating lagyan ng, like for example, ng mga drawings natin, mga tools natin. Yan. And then, this is adjustable. Yan. Pag drinag natin yan, yan. Papansin nyo. Yan. Pwede ko siyang i-adjust. Yan. Adjustable siya. So, automatic siya na-adjust. So, ganun siya. So, that's one thing about Google Drawings. Or, you can just do the page setup. Yan. And then, kung anong size yung gusto nyo. Yan. So, sabihin natin pixels kasi gagawa ko ng badge, di ba? Sabihin natin pixels. So, I'll go with 500 by 500. And then, apply natin. Yan siya. And then, lagay natin yung sabihin natin itong circles. Or, again, ano ba? Itong donut. Yan. Bilog lang natin. Yan. 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 Then, gitna ko siya. So, ito. Yan. And then, gusto kong palitan yung kulay. Yan. gusto kong palitan yung kulay. So sabihin natin, yung fill color. So pag click ko yan, lalabas ito. Yan. Pansin nyo, nadagdagan siya yung mga dito, mga tools natin. Yan. Gusto ko palitan ng fill color. So sabihin natin, ang fill color ko ay this one. Ayan. Ako maganda sa mata. Medyo palitan natin. Siguro, ito na siguro. Yan. Yan. And then, dito naman sa, napansin nyo, may line na black. Yan. So, sabihin natin na transparent. Yan. Tanggalin natin yung linyang black. Yan, kung gusto natin. Or kung gusto nyo, wala namang masama, ilagay nyo yung black and then, medyo lakihan nyo yung ano niya. Yan. Medyo lakihan nyo yung points ng border niya. And then, sabihin natin, gawin natin. Napansin nyo ito kanina. Ito ay, yan yung linya niya, no? Yan, dinesign natin na ganyan. Sabihin natin, ito ay purely ganyan. Yan. Sabihin natin ganyan. And then, maglalagay ako ng image. So, mag-insert ako. So, insert, yan, image. Then, search the web. Sabihin natin, Google logo. Sabihin natin, ito nga gamitin natin. Then, insert. Then, hintayin nyo lang, nag-create siya ng image yan. Gine-generate niya para ma-insert yung image. So, sabihin natin yan. So, nandito na lahat ng kailangan ko, no? Sabihin natin, gayahin natin yung badge kanina. So, ito na yung ating ang hirap igitna. Yan, dito natin. Masakali. Yan. Siguro tanggapin natin. Ganyan talaga siya. Ayan. So, sabihin natin yan. And then, lalagay ako ng text. Yan. Lalagay na akong text. Yan. Sabihin natin, level 2 siya. App Smash level 1. Yan. Sabihin natin App Smash level 1. Tapos kung gusto kong palitan ng font, yan. Natin ito. Yan. App Smash. Hindi pala siya na center. Center natin. Yan. App Smash level. Copy ko lang, then paste. Level 1. Yeah. Sabihin natin, this is badge. App Smash level 1 badge. Yan. Ano pansin nyo? Yan. Ganun lang siya. And then, kung gusto pa natin mag-insert, so, ito yung mga tools lang natin. Ganun lang kasimple, Ito yung mga tabs natin. Yan. Mga edit, view. Yan. Then, sabihin natin, gusto pa natin mag-insert ng, kanina napansin nyo, nag-insert ako ng text. Naglagay ako ng image. Yan. Ito, shape. Yan. Sabihin natin, gusto pa natin maglagay ng shape. Like, for example, meron ba akong ano dito? Ano pwede kong gawin na shape? Ito star. Yan. Sabihin natin, may star tayo. Yan. Copy ko lang. And paste. And ganun din. Yan. So, sabihin natin, i-recolor natin to. Sabihin natin, this is red. Yan. Red siya. Yan. This one is red also. So, yan. So, ganyan lang siya. So, this is simply our badge. And then, transparent na po yan. Automatic. So, when we save it, yan. Gusto nating i-download. Yan. Pwede natin siya i-download as PNG file. Yan. So, download ko na siya. So, automatic na. Ito na siya. So, pag in-open natin yan, yan. So, makikita na natin yung ginawa nating badge. So ganun lang kasimple. So, this is just a basic of Google Drawing sa inyo na sana magamit nyo. Kasi, actually, nandito na lahat nung pag magdo-drawing ka sa kanya, nandito na lahat ng kailangan mo sa kanya. Like, for example, ito, example ko lang to. Itong scribble. Natutuwa kasi ako dito Yan, yung scribble na yan. And tinutulungan niyang may straight yung ginagawa mo. Yan. Tinutulungan niya. Yung straight na, di ba? Yun ang kagandahan dito May ganun siyang feature. Yan. Nakita ko lang itong isa niya. Yan. Yung scribble niya, di ba? Umayos ng konti yung ginawa kong linya. So, ganun siya. So, pag select lang natin. Kung gusto natin burahin, yan. Select lang natin. Yan. Ganun siya. So, this is simply Google Drawing for you. And hopefully, nakuha natin kung paano ba ito gamitin. And I think yun na ang aking presentation. At hopefully, naintindihan or natuto kahit paano sa aking pagpe-present nitong Hyperdocs sa inyo. At sana magkaroon kayo ng idea and syempre, be creative kung magpe-present kayo sa inyong mga estudyante. So, yun lamang and stop na ako ng sharing. Ayan.
Wow, this is truly something that we could explore and use in our classes, Sir Earl. Thank you so much po for your generous sharing of your proficiency. Sir Earl, narinig ko kanina that Hyperdocs are like the teacher's lesson plans and modules but in a digital form. Mas nakakaingganyong gamitin at basahin because these instantly provide access for students to all contents and learning in a very organized digital space. Tama po ba, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Tama po.
Napangiti na lamang si Sir sa yung synthesis, ano? So, Sir
Kasi-
Earl, go ahead.
Nagugulat ako. Ang awesome lang kasing pakinggan na yung Hyperdocs will surely help us create the best blended learning experience for both teachers and students. At alam mo, Miss Pam and Sir Earl, isa pa sa cool na narinig ko dito is the opportunity to work collaboratively. Diba?
Yes.
Something na kailangan natin ngayon sa new normal way of learning and teaching. Tama po?
Yes
And
po.
uulitin ko lang para sa mga viewers, just to emphasize, yung sinabi ni Sir Earl kanina din na para siyang infinite black hole of information which is for free. Tandaan po natin, F-R-E-E, this is for free. Kaya ano pa bang hahanapin natin?
Totoo.
Mas libre pa sa pagmamahal na hinahanap natin sa iba.
So, sino sa ating dalawang
Tanara.
pinag talaga? Ano? Oo. Hindi daw natin kailangan makiamot ng maraming bagay o kaya magbayad para lang makuha ang gusto natin. Dahil mismo dito sa mga sinabi ng ating speaker ay mayroong free na makukuha natin. Diba?
Yan,
Kung
tama
hindi natin
naman
kailangan
yan.
ng masyadong malaking oras na gugugulin para lamang malaman natin importante tayo at yung ginagawa natin. Sir Earl, nakakapagpahugot lines ka naman sa inyo.
Tama ka dyan. Thank you
Ayun,
so much again, Sir Earl.
Sige po.
Maraming salamat, Sir Earl, and we're hoping to meet you maybe soon, face-to-face, and we could have our face-to-face discussion as well. Matuturuan mo kami ni Ma'am Jen.
Yes, ma'am. Hopefully po.
Hopefully. All right. Thank you so much. And before we proceed to our next speaker po, ayan, as you can see on your screen right now, okay, we are flashing the evaluation link. Okay, so all you need to do is to click the link and of course, okay, do everything that needs to be done as regards evaluation about our speakers, about our topic, everything about the session for today. It's a good Saturday. Actually, it's a great Saturday. And I hope that you have learned a lot na kami nga mula rito ay natututo rin. So alam namin lahat kayo, sama-sama tayong natututo. So why don't you click the link maybe a little later, not now ha? Kasi Jen, we still have two.
Yes, we
Right?
still have 2 more speakers ngayong hapon.
At
And
ano
so,
pa yung panghugot nila? So,
Ay,
go
nako.
ahead, Jen.
Excited ako. Kaya naman, while the momentum is still high, we push more to learning. This time, let me introduce to you our next guest speaker this afternoon. Alam nyo ba that he is an EdTech coach, a Google Educator Group Philippines Emeritus, Google Certified Trainer, and Innovator. He aims to lead schools and educational institutions towards digital transformation through adoption of Google for Education products and other recommended programs to increase awareness and productivity. He uses his experiences in digital learning programs, knowledge in effective traditional teaching practices, and exposure in different educational institutions to empower educators to build engaging connections with their students and achieve maximum learning potential. Earlier this year, he was chosen to be part of YouTube's Creator Day education event. He became a YouTube Edu creator along with other 14 content creators in the Philippines. Wow! Through his channel, Look Beyond the Classroom. He aims to inspire and elevate educators' innovative skills, create sustainable programs, and drive to create their own local content for teaching. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a virtual applause to discuss about interactive worksheets with drawings, YouTube, external resources for interactive worksheets. Let's welcome Sir Adrian Luke Cruz.
Hello, 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 sir.
Hello sir,
Adrian.
good afternoon po. Grabe na-overwhelm
Grabe
ako.
yung
Yes,
binasa
sa
mo.
bio note niya. Nag-expect tayo. Grabe kasi sobrang galing niya. And nabasa ko actually ate yung yung YouTube event. Isa siyang
Mhm.
malaking event for the whole Philippines. At biruin mong makasamang isa sa ating mga speakers ngayong hapon.
So,
Malaking
this
bagay yan
goes
para
to
sa lahat
show
ng viewers.
na hindi lang talagang pinaghandaan itong event na to. We just
Yes.
didn't get our speakers from like our list of friends from Facebook or something like that. They're all reliable, credible, effective, and efficient.
Yes. We have invited top-notch speakers from all over the Philippines to be part of this event. Kaya maraming salamat po.
And some of them have been actually involved internationally as in terms of
Wow.
speaking engagement. Kaya napakalaking bagay talaga nito para sa atin. Ibig sabihin, international host na pala tayo, Jen.
Ano? So,
Ganun
ibig
ba yun?
sabihin, ibig
Oo.
sabihin yung mga hugots natin, hindi lang dito sa Pinas na
Oo.
papanood. Ayan.
Umaabot yan sa ibang bansa. Di ba?
Ayan. And you know what, i-commend na rin natin yung iba nating speakers kanina mula nung
Yes.
umaga hanggang ngayong hapon sa
Totoo.
napakagandang talks na
Inputs.
binigay nila sa
Yes.
atin.
And
Alright,
there
nandito na.
he is. Hello po. Ay, ayan. Hi, sir.
Hello,
Ayan,
sir.
good afternoon everyone.
Afternoon.
Tignan po ako ngayon at nakikita ako ngayon.
Nakikita
Yes.
at naririnig po. Medyo mahina lang ng konti,
Medyo
pero alam ko
mahina
mamaya
ng
i-power
onte.
up.
Ayan. I will try to adjust, but good afternoon everyone. I hope you can
There.
hear me. Ayan, naririnig na ako. So thank you very much for inviting me for today's session. Hindi bago sa akin ang mga topics ito since I've been actually doing these kind of trainings ng face-to-face at ng online when it comes to mga applications ni Google. But right now, I think this is really one of the unique topics no na ginawa under DepEd and also with Google, yung tinatawag natin na app smashing. Okay lang po, naririnig ako ngayon. Okay lang, malinaw?
Yes,
Is that
sir.
okay?
Loud and
Okay,
clear.
loud and clear. Thank you very much. So, for today, actually naatasan ako magturo at magdemo ng interactive worksheets with Google Drawings plus YouTube and external resources. Earlier, nagkaroon na tayo ng onting idea on Google Drawings with our yung last speaker natin. But right now, let's deep dive no how we can make Google Drawings even more interactive. Kasi right now, ikalawang taon na natin na doing online teaching. And right now, I think it's about time to really level up our skills, no? Ano pa bang dapat natin gawin or ano pa dapat natin gawin when it comes to being more creative? Kasi nga,
Yun.
as of now, we still are, kumbaga, still being challenged when it comes to how do we become more engaging with our students? How can we make our materials even more effective? Kasi sabi nga natin, we
With
have
that,
to have,
mhm.
we have to
With that
have,
being
kumbaga,
said, sir, we're
oo,
gonna be giving the floor to you para it's
sure.
all yours. So everybody
Yes.
would be all eyes on you po.
Yes, the screen is all yours,
Okay.
sir. Good luck and thank you in advance.
Thank you very much. I will be sharing my screen now. There. So my topic would be App Smash interactive worksheets with Google Drawings, YouTube, and external resources. Now, sabi nga natin dito, tulad ng binanggit ko kanina, how do we make our activities, our modules, materials, even more interactive with our students eh. Ito yung challenge sa atin ngayon now that we've just entered our second year of remote teaching. Kung last year we've talked about the basic Google tools, how to use them, how to maximize them, right now let's talk about Google Drawings. And later on, babagay si YouTube and some other external resources na makikita natin dito na yung mga materials natin na non-Google related documents, files can still be useful, can be how do I say it? Kumbaga, we can still restructure it, and even some um, very good resources online, yung mga websites na nakikita natin na magandang ipabasa, ipapanood sa ating mga students, magagamit natin ito. So now, ang gusto natin gawin dito ay mas mapadali natin ang mga modules or materials ng mga students, making it an all-in-one material. Right now, I'd like to ask everybody here in the comment section, you can just type in your comments or your questions. I'd like to know, ginagamit po ba ang Google Drawings as of the moment? Were you able to try Google Drawings in the previous weeks or months, no, na nagtuturo na tayo? Now, I'll be waiting for your responses sa ating chat section. But right now, again, I would like to reiterate here, no, ang ating topic, this would be Google Drawings plus YouTube and external resources. So tatlo ang ating mga, actually hindi lang tatlo to eh, kasi yung external resources natin, ang dami nito. We can talk about maybe websites, no, reliable resources, even Google Forms and other tools na pwede natin ma-link all together in our Google Drawings. Thank you very much for responding in our chat section or in our comment section. Right now, magfo-focus talaga ako sa Google Drawings. Ano ba si Google Drawings? Bakit hindi ko siya nakikita sa mga pagpipilian natin ng mga Google apps? I want to show you and I want to tell you also that Google Drawings is actually a part of the Google for Education suite of applications. So itong Google Drawings na ito, matagal na po ito, isa to sa mga naunang applications na nabuo at inilabas ni Google for everybody, no? For everybody ito. Now, just to read this definition, no? Google Drawings is a free web-based diagramming software developed by Google. So, ano ba ang pwede nating gawin with Google Drawings? Now, with Google Drawings, you can collaborate definitely. This is also similar with using Google Docs, slides, and sheets that you can share this with your students, your classmates, your colleagues, no? You can work together. You can come up with different activity sheets, no? So, focusing tayo sa pag-create ng mga iba-ibang activity sheets for our students. So, in this case, what we want to do is to utilize Google Drawing para magkaroon pa ng mga interactive materials or, kumbaga, may interactive component ang mga students natin when it comes to accessing their digital materials. We all know we've been using Google Docs, we've been using Google Slides, but let's try to, utilize what Google is actually offering na isa din na masasabi ko ay isa to sa mga effective application ni Google pero underrated, no? Isa to sa mga underrated na application. Now, what you can do here is that you can create flowcharts. You can create organizational charts. You can create website frames, ang dami. Mind mapping, Venn diagram, concept maps, ang dami. You can also create your own images na pwede niyo ma-utilize with your Google Drawing. Now, I will exit first in my presentation and I will open a new tab here. Now, how do we access Google Drawing? Now, ang common na portal natin for all the Google applications ay yung tinatawag natin na Google Apps icon that's located in the upper right portion of our screen, this one. They also call this as waffle icon. Ito. Pero if you will scroll down, wala tayong makikitang logo ni Google Drawings. Now, pakita ko ulit, ano ba ang logo or itsura ni Google Drawings? Ito siya. Yung logo niya is kulay pula, very similar with Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides, but it's color red. Now, going back to this tab, I will go back to the waffle icon. Wala. Wala dito si Google Drawings. I think kaya din siguro hindi siya masyadong napapansin is that hindi siya visible in the waffle icon. But there are different ways on how we can access Google Drawings. Now, one would be, if you go to your Google Drive, I've already opened my Google Drive earlier no, para sa presentation natin ngayon. Now here, when you click the new icon or the plus icon in the upper left portion of your screen, you will see here folder, file upload, folder upload, at yung mga applications si Google. Now, when you click more, ayan, makikita na natin dito yung iba pang applications na baka hindi natin masyadong sinisilip, no? Well, I am also guilty on this, no? Kumbaga, sometimes hindi natin na na-explore yung ibang mga applications pa na meron si Google. Minsan, hindi lang talaga siya fully visible, but we really just have to explore. And right now, if you're watching right now, you are in a perfect situation to know more about Google Drawings. Now, when we click more, we can already access or open Google Drawings. So ito na po ang itsura ng Google Drawings. Earlier also, si Sir Earl, he was able to discuss briefly si Google Drawings as one way for you to create different logos, icons, no. Guilty ako nito before, no. Pag may mga nagtatanong sa akin before ng mga teachers, way back siguro mga 5 years ago, 4 years ago, Sir, ano ba yung Google Drawings? I always tell them, it's also similar to Paint, no? Just to give them like a brief idea on what Google Drawing is. But I would have to apologize to everybody who I answered before, no, na it is similar to Paint. Kasi this is more than a Paint. This is a very good tool when it comes to being more creative, coming up with different interactive materials na pwede nyong ipa-implement at ipagawa sa mga students. So this is a supplementary tool for you, for the teachers, para magkaroon ng interactive element ang ating mga students. Now, just to show you, ano pa ang pwedeng or paano pa pwede ma-access si Google Drawing is that when you open another tab, you can just simply type in the name of the app .google.com in your search box or what we call the Omnibox. So ito po, the search box here, it's also called the Omnibox. You can already type here drawings.withgoogle.com. Ayan. So when you go here, make sure you type in drawings, ayan, .withgoogle.com. Isa pa. Drawings.google.com. Sorry. Ayan. So when you type in drawings.google.com, you will be redirected to this page. Now, unfortunately, if you're looking for a home page for Google Drawing, wala po. Tulad ni Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides. Automatic, if you access Google Drawings, gawaan na to. Now, this is already your page to do whatever you want. Now, here, ano bang pwede natin makita? You can insert, ayan, images. So, kung gusto nyo mag-soft edit ng mga materials niyo, gusto nyo tanggalin yung ibang parts ng picture, you can do that. If you want to come up with your own logo, you can do that as well. Now, ito yung ginagamit ng ibang mga teachers if they want to really have their own logos. For example, if you want to create a badge or maybe dati meron tayong mga ribbons, no, na ibinibigay sa ating mga students when we're teaching face to face. But right now, since everything is digital, we can also come up with digital ribbons na that can serve as a reward for your students. How do we do that? So this is just a quick demo of creating ribbons for your students. For example, you want to reward them or give them or acknowledge them as being early bird award. For example, early bird award for students who always comes in early sa ating online classes. So what you can do here is you can insert shape. For example, gawa tayo ng mga logos, no? For example, I want to insert circle here. Gawa tayo. And then you want to insert, for example, other shapes. Like you gusto mong or lagyan ng label ito, no? So you can maybe use this shape and come up with this design, no? Medyo tsagaan lang to, pero as you can see here, it allows you to be more creative, to be able to customize your materials for your students. Now, kung gusto nyo mag-incorporate ng, let's say, coming from the web na mga images, you can insert image and click search the web. So maybe here you can search for trophy. So ang kagandahan dito, tulad ni Google Slides and Google Docs, kung na-explore nyo na before, when you click the insert here and image, search the web, you automatically open or you automatically have a quick search on your right portion of your screen. So hindi na tayo kailangan pang magpalabas-pasok sa isang tab or in another page, no? So all in one here in this Google Drawing application. So here, since I've typed here trophy, pili lang ako ng ano bang pinakamagandang icon that I can put in my ribbon for my students. So for example, this one. So maganda dito, drag and drop lang siya. And then kadalasan dito, ang makikita natin ng mga images ay also PNG files. Or kumbaga, wala nang background sa likod. So yan, what you can do here is that you can put it here, you can customize whatever you want here to make it even more special for your students. So dito change lang yung order, no? And then maybe you can type here early bird awardee. So you can come up with different styles of how you can engage your students. Pwede kayo magpa-reward system, no? So here, ano pa ba? I will just format this one. So similar with Google Docs and Slides, may formatting options tayo dito para mas ma-customize pa natin ang ating logos na pwedeng gawin for your students. You can change the color. Ayan. So, again, it's up to you or up to your styling, no? Kung paano nyo siya gustong gawin for your students. Now, if you want to maybe have more design, let's say, hanap tayo like Laurel. Ayan. Mga ganito. So, you can just drag icons here. And then, ayusin lang natin ng ganito. So, makikita niyo, in just couple of minutes, we can already come up with these kinds of material that we can already produce for our students. Now, since this is a diagramming tool, we can just simply adjust this. There. And you can download this as ODP, PDF, JPEG, PNG, and scalable vector graphics. So here, let's say I want to use this already and make this an official icon for my students. I can already download this as PNG. So that's one way of, customizing your materials for your students using Google Drawings. So isa pa lang yan sa mga pwede natin gawin with Google Drawings. Now, the other one here, sanay tayo na magbibigay tayo or gagawa tayo ng mga slide presentations for our students. Maybe we use PowerPoint presentations or Google Slides or Google Docs to come up with our modules. But right now, I would also like to show you that Google Drawings can also be a very effective tool when it comes to gathering all the materials needed or all the materials needed for a specific topic. For example, 1 week of your teaching for your students, pwedeng lahat yon nasa Google Drawings na. We make sure that every material that you're going to use for your students are already streamlined in one material. So kung kanina naituro ng ibang mga presenters natin how to maximize Google Slides, how to maximize Google Docs, creating Hyperdocs. Right now, we're using Google Drawings. Now, if you have questions, you can ask it in the chat section. Hopefully, masagot natin ang inyong mga katanungan. So, I have prepared or papakita ko ng isa pang demo ulit, na ipapakita ko paano na ba maging or paano makagawa ng interactive worksheets. Now, opening another tab here, again, we just go to drawings.google.com. I'll just go back to my presentation for a bit. So ito naman, pakita ko na yung external resources natin, pwede natin ma-smash or ma-app smash with Google Drawings. Hindi sayang yung mga nare-research natin ng mga materials. Before kasi what we can do there is that we copy and paste resources from one website. We copy them from one website, we paste it to Google Slides. We paste that to Google Docs, But right now, what we can do is that we can redirect them from Google Drawings, mapupunta sila sa mga websites na na-curate ninyo. In that way, we are also teaching our students to become independent learners. Diba ngayon, dahil online teaching tayo, what we want to make sure is that our students become more independent. Sorry for this one. Okay. What we want to do is, or ang goal natin dito ay maging independent ang ating mga students, when it comes to coming up or reading the materials na pinrepare natin. So dito, yung mga resources natin, gagawin natin or ilalagay natin in Google Drawings. One example would be if you are a science teacher. Actually, this topic, it's for all subjects, It's up to us on how we can utilize the app. Hindi ibig sabihin na computer teacher lang pwede dito or mas maganda lang to for English teachers. Not necessarily. Basta kahit anong topic and you really want or give an effort to make it interactive for your students, any subjects would be applicable for this one. Now, since I'm a science teacher, I have research, One example of my resources here would be this one, the heart, So what if I want this to be their interactive worksheet and I want them to make sure, that they will be able to label each of these parts. So here, what you can do here is that you can copy the image. I can paste it here. Now, sir, paano kapag may mga na siya, may mga may mga labels na. So dito, you can cover them, insert shape, you can cover them, you make sure that it's white, pwede mong tanggalin yung borders or make it white also. Now, kung meron naman kayong makikitang mga references na walang labels, then that's okay, that's perfect. But I also want to show you that in this strategy, no, we can be resourceful. At pwede ito with Google Drawings. Ayan. I'm doing it live na live, no. Kung bago pa lang tayo dito, definitely mapapractice natin ito. I've been doing this for a couple of years already. So, medyo, when it comes to yung speed, no, kahit papano, medyo mabilis-bilis na tayo. Pero don't worry for the other teachers. If your concern is to be, sir, hindi ko masyadong kabisado, that's okay. No? We don't really have to use everything all together. Kunyari, we know that we have different topics for today. We have so many apps to learn, no? Pero the thing is, no, we might be overwhelmed, but this kind of session, it's something that you can learn from, but at the same time, pwede nyong maging bangko, no? Bangko ng mga tools na pwede nyong gamitin next time, no? Kumbaga, for this week for your students, you use Google Slides. Maybe next month you use other tools, no? In that way, you as a teacher, you have different weapons to show or to use, no? Hindi pare-pareho, and at the same time, you make sure that you are not too predictable for your students. So, alam ko na gagamitin ni sir, ni ma'am, Google Drawings kasi yan yung parati niyang ginagamit. Again, for all the topics you've learned since this morning, you can park it. Kumaga, it's good to know, pero nandun naiintindihan ko po, nararamdaman ko ang inyong mga concerns at agam-agam na masyado ata akong na-overwhelmed sa lahat ng mga tools na to. Pero again, what you can do here is you choose first what you really like, you try to practice, the other tools na natutunan nyo, balikan nyo ulit some other time. But definitely, this session is not meant to overwhelm you or to scare you, teachers, but this is to further equip us and to have different options kapag kailangan natin ilabas tong mga tools na ito. Kasi sabi nga natin, ang mga tools na ito, kailangan ibagay natin sa ating learning objectives. Tama po. So, again, we always have to focus with the learning objectives and then we choose already, ano bang tulang mas babagay para dito? So, yan. Right now, natanggal na natin lahat ng mga labels. Now, what I can do here is to click file and download this as PNG or JPEG already. Sir, bakit? Well, if you're going to give this to your students, definitely kapag nakita nila to, pwede nilang tanggalin. So what we want to come up with or to have is like a solid image without the labels, no? So tanggalin na natin to. At dahil dinownload natin earlier ang unlabeled image, so we just go to insert image, upload from your computer, hanapin natin yung dinownload natin. This one. Open. So ito na siya. Now what you can do here is that ito yung page natin, teachers, no? Pwede nyo itong i-adjust anytime you want to. But the other technique here is that wag nyong tipirin. You have all the space that you can use to maximize this for your students. You can even use the outside portion ng ating material. Ibig sabihin yung sides, ito, yung blank spaces sa left and right. So paano po 'yun? So dito if we're coming up with an interactive material, let's say we want to insert directions. So lagay lang natin dito, click lang natin dito, insert maybe text box or shape na lang. Ang maganda dito, dami ng options na pwedeng pagpilian. So you can maximize the space outside the sheet. Now, you can put here like directions. Ayan. Or dapat ata text box yung ginawa ko. Ulitin ko. Insert text box here. So kung sa Google Slides at Google Docs, meron tayong allotted page or meron tayong allotted slides. Dito naman, we can use all the space. So for example, directions. Drag or identify each parts of the heart. No? Now, nasan yung mga parts or nasan na yung mga labels? No? So what we can do here, lagyan natin to ng design. So again, dito, magkakaano din kumbaga, may halong artistic side ng teachers. Depende sa kanila how or depende sa inyo how you would want this to be further utilized. Sabi nga nila, marami tayong mga students na visual learners, no? So you have to make sure that you choose or you complement the colors, no? The things that you put in your material. So pwedeng lahat ng instructions nandito sa portion na ito. On the right portion, you can create already the draggable labels, no? So, we can insert shapes. Text box, ayan. For example, ano ba yung parts ng heart, teachers, sa mga science teachers na nanonood? For example, we have here aorta. Ayan. So, para lang din to, no, yung mga word bank, 'di ba? Kung before sanay tayo sa word bank na naka-print, no, pen and paper, we can do it here digitally. Ayan. So, para mas madali ang ating buhay, we could just Control C, Control V. Oops, sorry. One more. Control C, Control V. Lagay natin left ventricle. So if you want to put colors, you can do so. Depende po sa inyo. Hanggang sa magkaroon na kayo ng bank ng mga labels. Kasi ang ending natin din dito, teachers, is that we can give our students individual copies of this, no? And they can submit it to you. Thank you very much, teachers, for helping me out sa mga nag-comment na mga parts ng heart. Thank you. I really appreciate your participation. Ayan. So, dagdag natin yung mga sinabi nila, Ma'am Levy. Yan, may left atrium. Yan. So, lagay lang natin ng onte. And so on, no? Now, ito na yung mga boxes, no, or yung mga labels na pinrovide natin for our students. Again, our goal here is that to come up with interactive worksheets for our students na sila mismo magkakaroon sila ng opportunity to to have ownership to their work. So kunyari, if this is the assignment for them, this is an interactive worksheet. Students can do this, right? So, ayan po. Kumbaga, they have an opportunity to really know, no? Depende na yan if they would, syempre may kasamang research dito, may kasamang readings, pero dito, this is an activity that I think, and definitely, they would enjoy, no? So, this is one example. Now, ano pa ba ang pwede natin ipagawa sa ating students with just viewing or accessing this material? For example, you want your students to really understand the concept of heart and how the blood circulates. So here, I have prepared, no, a YouTube video kasi tayo mahilig tayo maghanap ng mga resources on the internet, 'di ba? Sa YouTube. So for example here, nakahanap tayo ng isang magandang reference. For example, Intro to the Circulatory System. We just copy this. So pwede nyong copy link. Pwede rin yung sa taas, no? Copy lang natin 'to. And then we go back to this. Now, you can insert a text box here saying that, for example, watch the video to further understand the circulatory system. Now, kanina, nabanggit yung Hyperdocs. Now, this is also similar with Hyperdocs. Meron tayong special icon or feature here, which is this one, insert link. So, kagandahan dito is that you can link all the important materials in your Google Drawing. So, in this case, you want to highlight circulatory system, you click insert link, i-insert natin yung video na kinuha natin from YouTube, we click apply, and then that's it. So that becomes part of your material for your students. Tanggalin natin yung mga borders, yan. Ano pa? So again, yung mga ganito, it's an all-in-one worksheet for your students. Why do we have to provide YouTube videos? Again, these are resources that would be helpful for them to further understand the topic. Dahil nga we only have limited time, no, to teach everything for our students, we can give supplementary materials, whether it's something that they can watch videos or maybe they can read. So for example, gusto nyo may pabasa rin sa kanila. You value their skill to read or to become even kumaga mas maging wide reader, no? So for example, you want to give them, you find this website very useful for them, you can copy this link and then you go back to Google Drawings and then you can insert another instruction somewhere where you can put it here for more maybe for more readings, kindly access this link or this website. We highlight kung anong gusto nating word na ilagay yung link na yun. We go again to the special key insert link. We paste the website and then we apply. And then it's up to us already where to put it. Now, sir, bakit kailangan maglagay ng website? Again, this is an option for you. Now, di ba, may mga nagtatanong, sir, how do we make sure that each of the students can be addressed, no? Di ba, iba-iba sila ng learning needs, iba-iba sila ng skills, no? May iba, mabilis makaintindi ng concept, advanced, no? Advanced learners, and some others would be, needs more time to still understand some topics. So that's why you open different resources. For example, kung ang student natin ay medyo baka kailangan pa ng mas intindihan, they can go back to the video of the circulatory system, which they can already access from here. They don't have to go to YouTube anymore. It's all here. Now, for the advanced learners, you can give them different websites. O kung okay na kayo dito, you can move on to the next topic. I've attached here some references. So, ito naman yung mga website na pwede nyo gawin. So, this addresses the concern na paano tayo mas makakapag-individualize for our students or how do we address the different learning needs of our students. So again, you have here the activity na draggable. You have here the links that you can use, and such as YouTube or website. Ang kagandahan dito, when you click this one, eto na siya, no? May quick viewing na sa mga links na ibinigay ninyo or in-attach natin. So wag tayong matakot when it comes to like maximizing everything, because again, for Google Drawings, kumbaga, it's up to you. It's your own structure, but pero dito it allows you to be even more creative, no, to put your style sa mga materials na gusto ninyo. Now I'd like to show you how do we give this to our students. Pwede app smash nyo with Google Classroom, lagay nyo doon. Then you make sure to anong tawag dito? Have their own copy for each of the material that you've attached. Paano sir kapag wala kaming Google Classroom and I just want to use Google Drawings? Then okay lang. Now this is an advanced tip that I could share with you. Meron tayong tinatawag na force copying. Sir, ano po yung force copying? So when you give a link to your students or to somebody, automatic make a copy na yung i-click ng student or ni colleague or kung sino man. Make a copy na. Nababawasan na yung time natin or hindi na tayo kailangan pang magsabi na, oh, make a copy ka na lang. Sir, paano ba mag-make a copy? Oh, click mo yung file tapos ganito. So, sometimes, it still takes time, no? Nangangain din yun ng oras. Pero if we want to do that already automatically, sample lang to, app smash demo. Make sure that the accessibility of this document ay hindi restricted. You have to change it to anyone with the link. In this case, I will give this to you as a sample, no? So copy link, done. Ayan. So ito yun. So ito yung link na pag pinamigay natin to everybody, wait, make sure lang, ayan, anyone with the link can view. Sige. Yan. Now, may technique dito. One would be, di ba parang may code sa search box natin or sa Omnibox, yung link ng material. Kung makikita ninyo or ma-observe ninyo, sa dulo niyan, merong word na edit or kahit saang Google document or Google slide or Google Sheets, meron dyan word somewhere na edit. Gawin nyo lang po, tanggalin nyo yung pinakadulo hanggang sa makita mo yung edit na word. Tanggalin nyo yan. And then, if you want to do force copy, click nyo copy. Now, if I give this to my students, how will I know kung effective talaga to? What I do is that what I do before giving out to my students or to somebody, ini-incognito mode ko muna. Bakit? Para malaman ko kung effective siya. Kasi, di ba pag incognito, hindi ito kayo na-identify, no? So, when we try something here, makikita natin na dapat mag-make a copy siya. So, for example, palitan natin ulit. We make sure anyone with the link, done. Anyway, dahil hindi ako naka-sign in, no, I will just try here in another tab. Whoop, isa pa po. So while we're doing this, baka meron tayong mga tanong. I am open to answering some of your questions in the comment section. Thank you very much for still watching. Ulitin lang natin. Ayan. So kung makita ninyo, if I give this already to everybody, lahat kayo can already click make a copy and that's your own material already. You don't have to give instructions anymore na, oh, make a copy. Click nyo lang tong file. Tapos hanapin nyo yung make a copy. No? So if you have or if you want to explore on the exact material that I gave, how do I do it? I can just share this with everybody. Siguro the team from the DepEd can help me out. I will be pasting the link in our private chat and then you can give this to all of the audience. Thank you very much for assisting. So again, if you want to have a copy of this one, no, and you want to explore, the team can paste the link in the comment section. So abangan po natin. So again, this is something that you can use. Thank you very much po. So yan yung link. Best that it would be pasted in the comment section or reply as a comment. Ayan, thank you very much. So nandiyan na po, you can access this material. Now, the other one, let's try to explore on other topics, no? How about vocabulary words? Paano naman kung gusto natin magpa-vocabulary words with our students? Sir, kaya ba vocabulary words using Google Drawings? Yes. Now, what you can do here, I've already prepared something ahead of time. Saan na ba yun? Here. So, for example, what you want to do is to yung similar to vocabulary words ng pen and paper, no? So put all the definitions in the page provided. Ito na siya. And then you can, ito guys, ano na lang to ha, kinostomize ko na lang siya. Kumbaga, it's your way on how to maximize everything or the page here. So for example, ito na kasi pinrepare ko na to no, ahead of time. Pwede nyong gawin is that insert shape, insert squares, para make sure na lalapat siya dun sa allotted space nila. And then you can assign specific colors for each. Again, it's up to you kung gusto nyo isang kulay lang lahat or maraming kulay. So, make it visually engaging, visually pleasing to the eyes of your students. Sabi nga nila, imagine din natin kung tayo yung estudyante, paano ba tayo or paano ba natin gustong ma-engage. No? So, if we do or we give something similar to this material, no? Again, we give our students the opportunity to explore, to have ownership in the different materials that you give. So ayan. So if this is the worksheet, no, each of the students can receive this. Pwedeng make a copy or force copy for each. The other one is kung meron kayong gamit na Google Classroom, you can just assign it as an assignment and then make a copy for each, no? So again, ito yung mga pwede nyong gawin or ideas to make your worksheets even more engaging or kumbaga fun for them. So yan po. Ito ang isa pang pwede nyong gawin for your students. Sir, ano pa po bang pwede natin ipagawa with Google Drawings? Madami pa po. One example here would be, talagang tinapos ko itong itong sample. Now, one example also is that, di ba mahilig din tayo magpa-Venn diagram sa ating mga students, no? So, what we can prepare for our students is maybe a Venn diagram already. So talagang teachers, this really is, this tool, this is one of the underrated, underestimated, underutilized tool, no, na napakadaming potential with this application. We just really have to explore. Ayan, for example, we have this. We can just make this one transparent. Ayan. So kita po ninyo, you can already prepare everything for your students ahead of time. Or the other one, vice versa, you teach them how to utilize Google Drawings. In that way, they can also come up with their own report through Google Drawings, diba? So yeah. To be honest, teachers, madami din tayong mga templates that you can download ahead of time or you can search, no, online. I'll try to answer some of the questions here in the chat or in the comment section. One is from Ma'am Jocelyn. Is it user-friendly, especially if we're using phone device instead of laptop? That's really a good question. This one, for Google Drawings, we can access them through laptop or the Chrome app. Right now, wala pa siyang standalone application na pwedeng ma-download sa phone, but you can try to use the Chrome browser in your mobile devices. So yun, you can use that as an alternative. But definitely, isa to sa mga tools, no? Kung makikita niyo, this is also similar with Jamboard. But si Jamboard kasi more on brainstorming tool, no? Pero dito, sa Google Drawings, it's more of creating, no? Creating images, editing, ano pa ba? Crafting interactive worksheets. So, napakadaming pwedeng gawin with Google Drawings. Now, meron pa ba akong mga examples na baon for our student, for the audience? Pwede rin ito. This is actually one of the template that I've chosen under Ditch.textbook. So, this is one of the references I use, no? So, meron tayong mga international resources, no, na nagpo-provide sila ng mga templates. So, one would be yung Ditch.textbox. Thank you very much. This one, you can also come up with, or pwede kayong makakuha ng inspiration from this one, and then later on, you can modify, no, yung creating character map. So, you can utilize all the icons available here. Sir, saan galing tong mga to? So, these icons came from here. Insert. You have here different shapes, arrows, call out. So, yan. So, you can explore these and make it your own, no? If you have a certain personality, no, you can integrate that in your materials, no? Or if it's something na bagay sa inyong mga lesson or topic, you have so many options, no, choices here in Google Drawings. Ayan. And then the other one here, kahit face-to-face class teachers, when we go back, it definitely, kapag bumalik tayo sa face-to-face at excited tayo doon, definitely hindi naman na tayo babalik dun sa traditional, no, or yung talagang yung conventional ways. These are the things that even if we go back to face-to-face teaching, ay magagamit natin to with our students. Ayan. What else? Baka meron pa akong mga baon dito ng mga samples. Here, this is another one that I'd like to share with you. This is one of the material that we prepared. Well, actually, kasama ko din sa team ng Look Beyond. So, thank you very much, Miss June. Ayan. So, this one, again, similar to the example earlier, no? So, you can come up with these materials, no, you can get images online. So, syempre, pipili tayo ng talagang mga high definition images, no? And then from there, we can customize this, no? And then make our students drag each label to specific parts, no? So, yan po. So, yan po yung pwede nyong gawin or ipa-activity sa mga students. Again, ang dami po, no? So, these are just specific to some subjects such as science and English. But, dami po. Sobrang dami. I hope you would have time to explore, to tinker with all these tools and features. No? Napaka daming pwedeng magawa with Google Drawings. Now, going back to my slide presentation, ayan. So, definitely, I've already shared with you my best practices on how to do app smashing, no? So, etong mga to, no, yung mga apps, lalo na ngayon, yung mga apps ay user-friendly at accommodating na to each or to other applications. So, you can use more than one app at the same time, no, if that will complement or further enhance the experience of your students. Then again, kasi we're doing this, no, for our students. It might be overwhelming, yes, again, but we can park it for some time and then balikan natin kapag kailangan na natin ng mga applications na pwede natin or gusto nating ilabas for our students. Kasi again, reiterating, we don't want to become too predictable to our students, no? And then we still have to want to inject yung element ng fun, no, sa ating mga students. Lalong-lalo na lahat ngayon ay digital. So ayan. Kung nabitin kayo sa aking segment ngayong hapon, you can visit my YouTube channel. So since I am also a YouTube edu creator, you can visit my channel. So it's Look Beyond the Classroom. You can check them out. I have their tutorial videos, mga simple tutorials and other educational videos that hopefully might inspire and help you. So with that, teachers, thank you very much for listening. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you. Ayan.
Ayan, thank you so much po, sir. Wow, grabe yon. Ang galing, ah. In fairness, sir, sa lahat ng na-discuss mo, ang dami namin natutunan. Doon ako medyo napukaw ang attention ko no sa sinabi mong mga labels eh. Kung gaano kahalaga yung labels. Tama ba, Miss Pam? Gaano ba kahalaga ang label, Miss Pam? Where are you?
Isang example pa lang yan, no, ng mga activities na pwede nilang gawin.
Yes. Isang example, pero busog na kami, sir. Sana magkameron pa kami ng mas mahabang oras kasama ka.
Ayan.
Tama ba, Miss Pam?
Sabi ko nga po kung nabitin sila, they can anytime visit my channel as well para sa mga karagdagang informasyon. Dahil I am always updating my channel. I upload different videos. So all around, all about educational technology, tools, and some inspirational videos for teachers, specifically for teachers. Ayan.
Yes, sir. And congratulations, sir, nga pala sa Look Beyond the Classroom mo. Yan. And balita namin, isa ka sa mga content creators sa program ng YouTube, yung YouTube's Creator Day Education Event. Wow,
Yes,
grabe. Buong Pilipinas po ba yun, sir?
Yes po. Namili sila ng 15 content creators, specifically teachers, around the Philippines. And then, luckily po, ayun, so napili po tayo. na talagang matulungan nila at mapalalim pa yung ginagawa namin para mas maging effective yung channel namin for our specific audience. And this is really specific to teachers. Ayan po.
All right, Miss Jen, if you have noticed, there were actually a lot of comments, no, na nagsasabi talaga na they find this very helpful and it's gonna be like very engaging and compelling for all the students. So, sir, napaka isang malaking pasasalamat. Ayan, from Heralda Balanti, she's actually saying that she's thanking you for sharing your expertise.
Maraming
Ayan.
salamat din po.
All right. So, with this, sir, we would like to thank you once again for the time and the effort that you have shared with us. Sana hindi itong huli.
Definitely, I'm excited to collaborate with everybody, especially with
I
the
like that word, sir. Collaborate.
Collaborate.
Yes. I think it
Baka
has been like
naman.
the magic word, ano, this afternoon, this day, actually.
This day.
Mhm. So, just like Jen and I, we're doing collaboration right now of
Anytime po.
beauty, hugot,
And soon, Miss Pam, sana makakolab din natin si Sir.
yes, I
Diba?
like that. So, sir, wishing you again all the best, and we would like to hear from you again.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much po.
All right. And you know what, Jen? I'm really shaking with everything that we are getting today from all of our reliable speakers. Who would have thought that there's really a lot of things we could bend and mend for our learners? Diba? We're not
Tama.
broken. Sabi nga
And,
ganon.
Miss Pam,
Mhm.
alam mo ba,
Yes.
a news just came in. Hindi pa dyan natatapos ang lahat. May balita ako.
Sige, ikaw nang mag-spill ng balitang ito na pinagchichikahan lang natin a while ago.
Kanina, yes. Alam niyo po, we are not only blessed today for hearing life-changing talks from our speakers, we can also say that this day is really our lucky day. You wanna know why?
I want to know why. Share it
Yeah.
with everybody.
To all our viewers, after the last talk this afternoon, we will have a raffle draw and give away amazing prizes. Yay! Saya. Grabe, no?
Ayaw sumali dito, Jen.
Nakinig ka na lang maghapon at the comfort of your home. Natuto ka na, may chance ka pang manalo ng pangmalakasang prizes from Google and EdTech. Yay! Isang pangmalakasang palakpak naman dyan.
Panalong-panalo ka na sa puso niya.
Ay, ganun. Ako ba yun? Paano ba tayo sumali, Miss Pam? Easy peasy. Just make sure to fill in the evaluation links shown in your screen and you are automatically part of the raffle draw. Yan, di ba kanina meron
They
link?
are registered already.
Yes. Once they filled out the form, automatic registered na sila and kasali na sila sa ating raffle draw na mangyayari a little later.
Bakit ganyan ang Google? Pinapadali nila lahat ng buhay.
Yes,
No,
ano pa
pinapadali
ba?
nila lahat sa buhay, no?
Tama. Ang dami na nating natutunan. Tapos mag-uuwi pa ng prizes. Iba talaga ang
Yes.
Google.
Iba talaga kapag nakapag-uwi ka ng isang bagay na ikapapanalo mo. Ano?
Ayan.
Nevertheless, so again, all you need to do is, if you see the link below, all right, all you need to do is click it, and then you are automatically registered. You have an entry already for the raffle draw. Nag-register ka na ba, Jen?
Yes. Baka nagtatry lang ako. Baka naman dito swerte na ako.
Bakit saan ka ba minalas?
Anyway.
On, para naman mabigyan na natin, hindi, pinapakalma lang natin. Alam kong medyo nakakapagod din talaga yung maghapong nakatutok ka on your screen, right? Pero yan, pinapangiti lang namin kayo. It's just us telling you that there's always the better side of life. Kahit pagod ka, okay, there's always a big surprise. There's always, something at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah.
So right now, allow me, Jen. Sabi ko nga, there's one more speaker for us. Ito talagang medyo kanina pa ito handang-handa para sa atin. So let's complete our list of topics to be shared today to discuss about online physical education with Flipgrid. Okay, allow me to introduce, okay, um, our speaker who began her teaching career in a public school back in 2002 in her province. She moved to Manila in 2004 in the hope of a more professional growth. She became a Kumon instructor and after 2 years transferred to De La Salle Santiago Zobel School. She then taught music, art, and physical education in the early years for 7 years before moving to fifth grade. Riza has been advocating the use of technology in her physical education classes by using the Seesaw Learning Journal and Flipgrid applications, connecting with authors via Skype with author programs and Skype-a-thon events. She is a Google Certified Educator Level 1 and 2, Flipgrid Ambassador, CISA Certified Educator and Ambassador, and a Microsoft Certified Educator. She has been the technology mentor for her colleagues in her school and volunteers to train and organize professional development sessions for teachers in the Philippines through the Sharp Snifflats organization and one PH group. I hope I've read that right, but anyway, it can be corrected a little later. Ladies and gentlemen, once again to discuss online physical education with Flipgrid, we give you Miss Risa Piso.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, ma'am, loud and
Yes.
Yes.
clear. And we
Good
can see your
afternoon.
beautiful smile as well.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. It's you've mentioned my name correctly, Risa Picto, and One Fised PH. It's a
Okay.
group started by us teachers in De La Salsabel, the FISED. We call the physical education teachers FISED. And so
Yes.
good. I'd like to say good afternoon to everyone, all the teachers who's here this afternoon, spending your 3 p.m., 4 p.m. weekend with us.
Yeah, it's
Weekending
not a
with
siesta time, ma'am. It's not a siesta time
yes,
because we're alive today.
yes.
All right,
That's
so
why we're
ma'am,
going to end it with PE.
yeah, so it's
Being
gonna be a
active.
blast, and we're turning it over to you.
All right. So let me share my screen to everyone. Uh-huh. Mm, okay. Here we go. I hope you're seeing it clearly. Let me know if you're seeing it clearly. Yes. Okay. Could you please type yes in the comment section if you're seeing my screen? Good afternoon, everyone. All right. Thank you. Now let's begin. So I'm Miss Risa. I'm a physical education teacher. And I'd like to share my experience on the use of Google Classroom and Flipgrid in my PE classes. I hope that through this sharing, you'll be able to get something out of it to be used in your own classes, classroom, in your own context. So, whatever it is that would be useful to you, go ahead and take it away, use it, adopt it. So, let's begin. So why do we need to up smash Google Classroom and Flipgrid? So let me just share some goals that we have for this afternoon are the following. So I hope that through these goals, I will be able to help you manage online distance learning, even though it's challenging, it's tiring. At the end of the day, our students still matters. So Google Classroom app smashing with Flipgrid. So for me, Google Classroom is our home. So we always want to be home. So how do we make sure that our students are at home? They have something to go to if they need something. So we have Google Classroom for that. Everything is there, whatever they need to learn for their learning experiences, how to share what they learn, how to share their inquiries, what they are wondering about. And the Flipgrid is both for you and your students because you, as a teacher, you want to prepare what's best for them. So let me go through the next slide now. So I will use the CARE word or the CARE acronym. So despite all the challenges, we want to show care to our students. So C stands for curating appropriate resources. And herein comes Flipgrid. So let me just check first if everyone is familiar with Flipgrid. Maybe you've attended one FISED or any other webinars before. Yes. Are you familiar with Flipgrid? Yes? No, not yet. It's your first time to hear about it. Yes. So my next question now, have you tried using it with your class already or classes? Yes. So that's great. There's one that says no. So of course, when using Flipgrid and Google Classroom, there's the issue of accessibility. So you just have to make do with what you have. So adapt it to your context, whatever it is. So don't force it if it's not really useful, but learn something from it so that in the future you have something that you can use. Okay, so thank you for all your active participation in the comments. So let me go back to curating appropriate resources. Then the A, of course, when you curate, you have to assess what your students are sharing or demonstrating to you, whether it's a skill or a reflection of a concept that you've been teaching. And then we reflect, both the teacher and the students reflect on the learning process or the learning experiences that we've had. So, and lastly, we have to engage our students in all the stages of learning, whether it's planning, creating, demonstrating, they're part of it. So they are the center of our universe when it comes to learning. So curate appropriate resources means you can create according to skills, fitness, game, challenges, or whatever it is that you may need in your subject. So I will be talking mostly about PE, although I'll be sharing also some experiences with art and collaboration with language class. Otherwise, whatever I'm sharing, you can always adapt it to your own subject matter. So it's only a strategy or a style, but you can always use it in another way that best fit your situation. So how? So like every teacher, we were thrown into virtual learning or virtual lessons or classes last year. So I've turned into Flipgrid to curate all of my resources. So teaching fifth grade focuses on physical fitness components. And I wanted to show my students the different physical fitness components. So there's health related and skill. So I've collected sample exercises, performed them in Flipgrid, and this is what I curated. So the materials that you will be seeing in the succeeding slides are all curated exercises by me. So of course, you have the option to use YouTube and get a link and post it in your Google Classroom. But sometimes YouTube makes things, it sometimes causes distraction because once you click a video, there are other videos that they need to view. But with Flipgrid, your kids are just exposed to the learning materials that you want them to focus at that particular time, at that particular term or quarter. So that's what's great about this Flipgrid in PE class. So now, after curating all the materials, so all the performance tasks, it's there, as you can see in the screen right now. So these are now the curations that I made last year and this school year. And each post that I created, there's a sample video instructing my students how to perform, how to demonstrate, how to do the task assigned of them for a particular term or particular quarter in your case. So aside from all the activities that we do in PE, so in Flipgrid, if you're familiar with TikTok, so it's similar, but TikTok is a social media platform, while Flipgrid is a learning platform. So they're kind of similar. The difference is the students are focused on the learning that you want them to experience. And then you can customize the experiences, the resources, the video demonstration, so that it targets really the competencies that you've identified from the DepEd curriculum guide. So I hope I'm making sense to everybody. If I do speak fast, please let me know in the chat, and then let's move on so we have enough time for Q&A if you have some questions, and then I'll show you my actual Flipgrid account. And then we had a full year of PE class last year. So we had games, we had folk dances. So here's another resources for the folk dance. So I've divided the resources into the full dance video and the steps. So this is what's great about Flipgrid, because you can customize the video demonstration according to a specific skill or task that you want your students to demonstrate. So whatever is it, you can you being the teacher in class can direct the learning in as much as your students can also understand in a way that, oh, this is what my teacher wants me to demonstrate. These are the skills, these are the concepts. So it's specific in such a way that whatever you want them to focus on to improve, they can go straight to that particular video. I remember one time in our workshop in EdTech, your video should not go beyond 5 minutes. Otherwise, the attention of your students are not there anymore in what you're trying to teach them. So make it short, simple, but meaningful or workable for your students. And also, let's make sure that their use of technology is purposeful. So with Flipgrid and Google Classroom, they only have 2 applications or platforms to go to. So they're not scattered. They don't need to go anywhere. You can link everything to your Google Classroom. I'll show you an example in a while. And then all the things that you will see here are all curated materials, demonstrations. And then, of course, after you've provided and curated all the resources, you need to assess your students' demonstration of skills and concept. Otherwise, they would just say, pinasubmit ako ni ma'am, di naman chinek. Hindi naman niya sinabi what to improve on. What do I need to do? So if we ask something from our students, we need to give back to them, whether it's a comment, a feedback, audio, or whatever is it. So you can do both in Flipgrid, or you can do it in your Google Classroom. So your students are only focused on 2 learning platforms. They don't need to go anywhere. That makes learning more focused and attentive to what you are really trying to work on. We know that they are on their gadgets for the whole day or for a particular part of time, and sometimes they would also feel that it's too much. So let's make it meaningful. Assess according to what you've assigned to them. Then, so when you assess, so here's an example of my Google Classroom. So what's great about up smashing Flipgrid with Google Classroom is that there are so many ways to link your learning resource to your Google Classroom. So here's one where I've already linked the whole Flipgrid resources of Tinikling in their Google Classroom. There's already a rubric where they can referred to on how will they be assessed, how will they be rated, and then there's also a music. So everything is provided so that they wouldn't, have reasons, but it's not there, but I don't know what to do. So hindi naman sinabi ni ma'am what to do. So these are the things that we have to be mindful when we're planning. So make sure everything is accessible. Everything is posted in your Google Classroom. Otherwise, they will keep bugging you in your emails or chats or whatever, what to do, where to find, things like that. So sabi nga ni ma'am kanina, pinapadali ni Google ang buhay natin. That's really true. I mean, I can hands down to Google. Virtual or ODL learning last year, even though it's the first time and we were thrown in, it was, I wouldn't say such a breeze, but it was really, I was able to cope because there was Google Classroom as our learning management system. So all the students know where to go, where to check, what to do, things like that. So aside from posting it in your Google Classroom, then you can now, it's there. It's a one-stop shop for you as a teacher and one-stop shop for your student as well. So your student uploads the video they've recorded, whether it's in the regular video recording or in your Flipgrid, they can always submit their work in Google Classroom, and then you can use your rubric to grade their performance or their demonstration. Remember the assessment. So here now is your way of assessing without going to any other apps, like going to Messenger, to Facebook, or to whatever learning management system you and your school identified to use. So with Google, everything is there for the teacher, everything is there for the student. So it makes everything seamless. It makes learning seamless for both of you and your students. And let's thank Google for that and all the innovations that they are doing. We're very grateful. So aside from assessing with the rubric, so all your students will now have when you click your Google Classroom, it will look like this. So everyone, let me just check who's using Google Classroom now as their LMS. I know my niece from Visayas is already using Google Classroom. Anyone who's still with us who's using Google Classroom, what was your experience? Was it as seamless as I am talking right now? Am I making sense? Yes, Miss Benji and Miss Michelle, Miss Virginia, Sir Brian. Okay, Miss Loricel, thank you. So maybe later at the end of the session, we can share experiences on your use of the Google Classroom and Flipgrid as well. So here now, remember the curated material. So what's good with Flipgrid is that at a glance, you'll see how many students were able to turn in, demonstrate, or submit the required material to show their learning or understanding of a particular topic that you are requiring them to submit. So here you'll see I have 22 students from 5A, 26 from, so at a glance, as a teacher, you're doing a lot of things. You're preparing plans, things like that. And with Flipgrid, you can just quickly check, oh, I have already this much students submitting for their PT. So it gives you a sense of hope or sense of accomplishment that somehow your students are trying to accomplish what you're trying to teach them. So there's really that relationship of We will learn together. This is what I'm providing for you. This is what we will interact with. We will learn together, and then let me see how you've learned it. So there you have it for all the performance tasks in the assessment. So here's an example of my student demonstrating a performance task about their spell their name exercise. So we remember we were talking about the physical fitness component. So I'm asking them to demonstrate the exercises here. And here's another one. Same thing, it's exercise, but a different type of activity. So there's so many ways. By the way, all these activities, I've only provided the choices, but my students are the ones choosing what they wanted to include in their plan. So in as much as possible, give your students a voice and choice on how they would want to show their learning and understanding of the skill or concept. Only if it's possible. So no one is forcing anybody to do what's not doable at this point in time. And then performance test, same thing. So here's the activity, here's the work of my student. So at a glance, you as a teacher, so just a background in this activity. So there's 4 types of exercises in health related. So that's why it's labeled cardiovascular, muscular endurance, muscular strength, and flexibility. So you as a teacher at a glance, you'd see, okay, my student was able to choose an exercise that really belongs to this particular category or type of an exercise. Okay, so there you have it for the assessment. Don't worry, we will go to the Google Classroom in a while. So here's what I'm trying to mention a while ago, a collaboration with language and PE class. So the context of their oral presentation is they have to reflect and share their experience on how were they able to create, how was their experience in creating their spell your name exercise. So using that experience, that's the context, and they would transfer this learning into their language class, applying the concepts they are learning in their language class. So there's so many ways to go around and use Flipgrid, and this is just one of them. So am I still making sense with everybody? Okay, now moving on to letter R. So we will reflect on our teaching practices aside from the students reflecting on their own work. So here's a reflection and evaluation of my students in grade 4 this school year, current school year, on how they found PE class, as how they found me as their PE teacher, and the PE class experiences, what they like, what they didn't like, what was the most striking experience for them, things like that. So because we need to be able to really inject reflection in our teaching practice, even though it's really challenging. I know it's challenging. Even for me, I have access to technology. My students have access to technology, but it's still challenging because there are so many factors that we cannot control. But we're thankful that with Google Classroom and Flipgrid, it makes things learning for our students and for ourselves teaching much better than way before. Okay, although nothing compares to F, but we make do with what we have right now. We're resilient, so we might as well bring that into our teaching. So with the reflection, aside from reflecting here, the students also reflect on their lesson. So I have not included a screenshot here, but I will show you the Flipgrid file or topic that I've created for that as well. Now, we go to the letter E. Engage students in all the stages of learning. Why? Students who are invested in their own learning, you will not have a hard time asking them, submit this work now. Where is this? How come you're not yet doing this? How come this is not submitted? It's already end of the quarter. So with Flipgrid, you don't have that. Not with Flipgrid. I mean, engaging your students with Google Classroom and Flipgrid makes things manageable, both for you and your students. So engage means not just with the lesson. So you connect with them, you form relationships, even though it's very difficult at this point in time. Give them a chance to show what they like, how they want to be active in class. Do they want it through a particular exercise or a particular physical activity? Let them be, as long as they can demonstrate and show the skills and concepts that you're teaching. So it doesn't have to be what's in the learning competencies from dot to dot, but we adapt in such a way that you and your students do not get burned out from learning all of these things. And then I'm almost done to the last part of the slides. So, but I will show you the Google Classroom, how it makes easier in linking your resources to Google Classroom. But I want to share with everyone that using Flipgrid isn't about recording videos, it's about learning. Okay, learning that is social, personal, can happen anywhere, anytime. It's about making connections. It's deep exploration and promotes that everyone is a teacher and everyone is a learner. Be very specific about it, that you're not just asking them to record a video because it's your requirement. So ask them to share something to you because you're interested, or because it shows you that they respect your work as well. So because planning, teaching, assessing, reflecting are not just 9 to 5 desk work type of work. So it's really out of passion, out of heart. I know a lot are still grappling with what to use, what to do, but with your dedication, with the things that you're trying to make do, things will be more easy. And thank you that you're leaning now into Google Classroom. So it's going to be more manageable for you and your students. Let me leave you with this quote. Technology will never replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers like you who are spending your weekend here instead of being with your family, your loved ones, your kids, in the hands of great teachers can be transformational. It's for some it's a cliche, but it still do. It still is true to its word. And I quote from George Kaurus. So for now, I will be opening. I will now show you first the Flipgrid. So for some, let me check if I'm sharing. I need to share a different slide. So let me go back here and I'll stop screen sharing, then I'll share my window. So here, so I can change windows. Okay, let me check. Is it showing? No, my screen is not showing. Okay, let me just share. Here we go. Let me just share the Chrome tab then. Okay, so here it is. Are you seeing my screen now? Yes. So here's my Flipgrid for the past school year. I've been using it since 2018. So you'll see here, excuse me. So how does my video look like? Excuse me. So this is the latest one that I did for our PE Olympics. So you know the intramurals in the face-to-face, we've adapted it to virtual by doing PE Olympics. So if you're thinking of doing a virtual intramurals games or sports day, Flipgrid is another way to facilitate that kind of activity. So this is one activity where I'm showing how to perform a particular activity. Notice that I've added the instruction already in the video. So it's once my student clicks the link, they can see it there. They don't need to go anywhere. And they would automatically know, oh, okay, that's how Miss Risa did it. I'm going to perform it as it is as well. So you'll get to see right away. You'll get to demonstrate the skill I'm in, and then they get to practice as well. So it's a win-win solution for you and your students, and for the others who are asking how to share your Flipgrid to your Google Classroom. So easy. So this button here will show different ways of sharing. So see, I told you a while ago, right? Flipgrid and Google Classroom apps makes learning seamless because it's here already. All you have to do is just click share to Google Classroom. And when you click that, you'll be able to post it in your Google Classroom. Or if you want to make it more challenging to your students, you can use the QR code or embed the code. Or if you're on Microsoft Teams, go ahead. So those are the ways to share what materials you've curated to your Google Classroom. Now I'm going to, do you have questions about Flipgrid? There. So Sir Mario is asking how to integrate Google Flipgrid to Classroom. So now I've shared it already. All you have to do is just click the link here. Whatever is the resource that you're preparing, just click share and copy this one. Then when you go to your Google Classroom, there's a post there that would say attach a link. Remember, there's that link button in the Google Classroom. Any others? Any other question? None? So you have questions about Google Classroom. So now I'm going to stop sharing and share my Google Classroom so you have an idea how it looks when it's already integrated. So here's my Google Classroom. So my Google Classroom, the school decided that we're going to be using topics per week as our code. So when you're using Google Classroom and the topics are organized, your students will surely love to check your Google Classroom. Although it's not as fancy as the other LMS where you'll see photos, things like that. But for me, being able to navigate this way, as simple as that. So when you direct students, okay, go to your PE Olympics post. So they would see everything here. they don't need to go anywhere, anything. So once it's there, your student will just have to click. So I will click the one in term 2 with the folk dance. So it's here. So notice this is an activity, by the way. So Google Classroom is not limited to just posting Flipgrid links. So you can create a discussion and then ask your students to view a video and then ask them to type their observations, things that they've noticed from this particular activity. So this one noticed it's only one student because this student missed. So with Google Classroom, you can also individualize the learning or personalize the learning. So you see, Google Classroom has limitless possibilities when it comes to learning. So you just have to be patient when you're learning learning how to use Google Classroom within a first year. But after that, you can ask people or explore on your own. So you'll be able to really fully utilize how great is Google Classroom when it comes to facilitating learning. So we post everything from our learning guide to our task to everything. So here's the tinikling. Remember the Flipgrid a while ago? So I posted it here because it's a material, not an assignment. And then I wanted to show you the tinikling post itself. I just have to look for it. Okay. We have so many activities that I'm having a hard time there. So maybe it's in the week 6 there. So you can also link videos from Google Drive if you have materials not coming from Flipgrid. So yes, so Ms. Nair is agreeing to what we are talking about submitting. Oh, okay, that's great. So any other questions, clarifications that you want to ask me before this session ends? I hope it's clear how Google Classroom was up-smashed with Flipgrid can make your learning seamless and easy and manageable all throughout as you complete another school year. So I know you've just started and I am already on term 2 in my school. Okay. If there are no further questions, let me give back. Okay, so one last, what else do you want to ask? Okay, so is the application also available in the end of the learner's account even without downloading the app? Because of Google, you have Google email, right? So Google provides the learners, I'm not sure what's your term about the learner emails. Okay, adding students to Flipgrid without Gmail account. So very easy. So when you create a group or a topic, so let me show you. I have to show you the Flipgrid. So give me 2 minutes, I'll share this. Okay, and share screen. Here we go. So here, so in the settings, you can add here allow attachments, and in the details, so there's a, I think it's, sorry, it's not in the topic, it's in the group. Okay, so group, there. So here, so if you don't have, if you're using Google Classroom, you don't have a problem with students without Gmails because it's here, Google Classroom. Otherwise, if you want to add their username, so you have the class list, right? So just copy the names in the class list or in the Excel or in Sheets and use this username. So let me, there. So see, you have an option here, sorry. So Flipgrid is also very good in innovating things. So instead of you typing each of your class name, just upload a CSV and voila, it's there. Or if you have an email, so you just write at deped.gov.ph, or so there. So that's for the email or the domain. But for the username, so you have to type the first name, the last name, and the username. So if you want to name them student number 1, student number 2, go ahead and do it. But if you have Google Classroom makes life easy for you. It's there already. Okay? What else? How about po kapag nakapag-join na ang mga learners using their school accounts? No. Once they recorded already in their Flipgrid, it's there. It's saved there. And when you're using Flipgrid, your students will have access to this one. Okay? So, so you as a teacher, you have the info.flipgrid.com. That's your access being the teacher, and your students, they have this access as well. Okay. Let me share my full screen so I could just it won't let me share my full screen. Sorry, I'm so sorry. So I'll just share this with you. Okay, so when your student was able to access the Flipgrid or the code that you've posted in your Google Classroom, they have access to this. So this my.flipgrid.com.me or .me, it's all the videos that your students were able to create using Flipgrid, whether it's from your class, another teacher, another type of grid or group or topic, it's here. You don't lose it just because they joined in the Google Classroom. Okay, question? How about the students who cannot access the Google Classroom? So if you don't have the Google Classroom, but you're printing your modules and your students have access to internet and you want to use Flipgrid, then put the QR code or the link or the join code. Remember the join code that you see here? So whether you type it as your class name, for example, honesty for A, for example, that's your section name. So, and that's what you created for the code. So your class will use that code and they will be able to access that one. Okay. What else? Without Google Classroom, then you can, without the Google Classroom, but you have the modules and you still want to use Flipgrid, then you can use that. Yes, you can edit the videos like what I'm showing you a while ago. So Wait, let me show you what I've created. I think this one. So let me check if it's loading. So here, that's why you were asking, because I was not able to show you an example. So here I'm showing the basic dance step of the tinikling, which was adapted in
5, it's
in another YouTube video. So I'm showing the dip step. So I'm putting all the cues for the dance steps here. And here's the
all right.
specific
I think
specific instruction. So to do the dip with the movement or the feet movement, you just go dipping movement, dip, dip, up. So it's similar to what I'm showing here. Let me play until 10
we are
seconds.
ready for our figure number 1, which is the dip. This dip is similar to the movement dipping. So what we're going to dip here is not our hands, but our feet inside those two bamboo poles. In this case, you can either have a poles, whatever you're using, a pole, or the tapes. So, okay, I'm sorry if it's going to be.
Okay, so I hope that addressed your question. Okay, how about kapag so I've answered Miss Jel. I've also answered Mr. Glenn, Miss Levy. Okay, so do you still have questions? Clarifications? What else could I help you with? For clarification, no, the learners need not create an account in Flipgrid because they will use your Google Classroom account. Remember the email account that Google gives to your learners? The one with the, I know you have that, you have a code for that, like the learner, please help me out. My cousin mentioned it to me, and also Miss Mary Manzano. She mentioned that to me, the learner, Google Learner accounts there. So if your students, they have the Google Learner account, they use that to sign in their Flipgrid. Yes, the LRN from Miss Mars, I think, Peralta. Oh, the class code. Well, what do you mean with the class code? Is that the class code in Google Classroom? Once you give the code, they will have to sign in using, remember the group that we created a while ago, and that you can assign a domain, an email domain, or a username or Google Classroom. So that's it. Yes, thank you, Miss Jella. Learner's account. That's right. Yes, Flipgrid is free. It can be used using your cell phone, your iPad, if you have an iPad, your laptop. So it's compatible Android, iOS, Chrome. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for all your help. Okay, there. Okay.
Yes, Miss
Hello, we
Pam.
wanted to help you out, Miss
Ay, thank
Risa,
you, Miss
kasi
Pam.
nakita talaga
Eh,
namin kung gaano ka-interactive yung discussion mo, no?
grabe.
Oo.
That
So,
proves how interesting her topic is, tama?
yes, yes.
Um,
And mostly kasi talaga DepEd related questions din talaga as regards LRA
Mhm.
and a
Yes.
lot of things, no? So,
Miss, there's a question, Miss Pam, from Miss Pressy. Matagal po ba na po ba ang Flipgrid? Yes. Started using it 2017, 2018. So, yes, you can actually use it in your teaching if no one is stopping you because it's uh it's learner centered. When you're using it, you're giving your students voice and choice as to how they would show understanding of your lesson. So remember, I know at the end of the school year, you're preparing your portfolios, and Flipgrid is a great way to share the documents that you and your students were able to accomplish or have created during the whole school year. So when you're asked by your principal or the dep ed to submit, you don't have to look anywhere, screen capture from the Facebook or wherever, because you have the Google Classroom and the Flipgrid to refer to. It's there. It's a one-stop shop for you and your students when they need something to submit, like they need it for scholarship, things like that. You have it there in your Google Classroom and in your Flipgrid. And if you want to know more, the specifics of Flipgrid, I cannot share it with you right now, but you can always contact me via Miss Mary to if you still need help. But if you can explore it on your own, go.
I really like the term that Miss Riza used a while ago, ano, one-stop shop, no? Lalo na ngayon, it's like very chaotic and all. Parang hindi mo alam kung saan kukuha
Saan?
ng resources or how are you going to
Yes.
bank all these things that you've been asking your students to do. And here is Miss Riza telling us,
Mhm.
piece of cake. There's an
Yeah.
answer for everything, di ba? So, and,
Yes.
Yes.
Miss Jen, ano, ang pinakamaganda pa sa sinabi ni Ma'am, ano, though she wouldn't be able, as much as you would love to share everything to us, syempre, time constraints and all,
Mhm.
pero sinabi niya, we could always reach her out. Di ba?
Saan po
Very
ba natin
Yes.
pwedeng i-reach out si Miss Riza para alam ng mga audience natin?
I'll
yes.
type my email ad. Okay. And also, if those of you are planning to create your Flipgrid account, you can use
Mhm.
this link. I'll share it in the private comment and then they will be sharing it with you. And then, um, what else? Oh,
All
my
right.
email. So, and then you can find me at Twitter as well. It's just the same as my first name and my last name. So there you have it.
Grabe talaga dito sa Google. Ano, spoon feeding na tayo. Ano pang kailangan
Yeah.
nating gawin?
Ano pa bang hahanapin natin? Nandito na ang lahat.
Ay,
Yes.
ako hindi na ako
Exactly.
naghahanap. Mukhang ikaw yata, Miss Jen.
Ito na naman tayo. Ayan, I think.
Lisa,
Ako,
thank
Miss
you
Jen,
so
hindi na
much
ako
po.
naghahanap kasi nahanap ko na sila.
Oh,
Ah,
Si
ayaw
Google
na
at si
ang
Flipgrid.
lahat.
sa bagay. Mukhang na kay Google and Flipgrid ang forever. Tama ba ako?
Hindi,
Dito
walang
na ba tayo
forever.
sasaya?
May lifetime, pero walang forever.
Ah,
Alright.
okay.
Miss Riza, with your smile, I know na nahanap mo na ang lifetime help mo sa pagtuturo and thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank
Yes, sabi
you.
nga, kanina, ni Miss Riza, technology becomes transformational in the hands of great teachers. And we couldn't agree more. Great
Yes.
teachers will always play vital role in educating and inspiring students, and that includes upgrading our strategies and tools and using technology in teaching. Once again, maraming salamat po, Miss Riza, for that
Thank
very
you.
engaging and compelling technique on how to teach online physical education using Classroom and Flipgrid. Maraming salamat po. Yan. Kanina,
Yes.
Miss Pam, Miss Riza kept on asking kung is she still making sense Diba? Kanina tinatanong niya, am I still making
Overlap.
sense? And every time she asked, I answered yes. Everything that was discussed today makes so much sense. So again, sa lahat po ng naging speakers natin ngayong hapon, maraming salamat po. And to you, Miss Riza, thank you for wrapping up the whole talk with such commendable job. For sure, a lot of us here couldn't wait to try these techniques in our own classes. Tama?
Yes.
So, Miss Pam, could we say that it's really a Saturday well spent?
That would be an easy question for me to answer, of course, Jen. And I'm sure glad that we were actually invited. Diba? Usually we would be like, it's a Saturday. Why work? Why attend? But then again, I'm very, very happy to be part of this one. And
Mhm.
kanina, you have already announced it, di ba?
Yeah.
So, ngayon, itutuloy-tuloy na natin to. We actually told them a while ago that we have a surprise for all of our participants. And we
Mhm.
are going to be having a raffle draw.
Raffled.
But before that, we're going to be inviting somebody special and important
Ooh.
sa EdTech. Yan. So, I believe he's already here backstage, but can we put him through? May we have Sir Mark Anthony CC?
Yay! Hello, sir. Good
Hello,
afternoon.
sir.
Hello, Miss Pam. Hello, Miss Jen. Good afternoon. And to all of our teachers who are currently watching, good afternoon po sa inyo pong lahat.
Ayan, Sir Mark, alam namin sa kasiyahan, sa pagkatuto, sa lahat ng bagay kasama ka namin. Kaya ngayon, gusto sana namin na kabilang ka sa mamimigay ng ating pasurpresa sa lahat ng
Ayan.
participants. Game ka ba doon,
Yes.
sir?
Game ako dyan, syempre, basta para sa ating mga kaguruan at sa paggamit ng makabagong teknolohiya, suportado po natin yan.
Okay.
All
So
right.
right now, siguro ipaalam muna natin kung ano ba yung in store for them. No, ano ba yung ating ipapa-raffle? Ano yung kanilang makukuha for today?
Yan. Balita ko, napaka-special nito and limited edition lang, Miss Pam.
Nung nakita ko nga kanina, ay napangako. And I was like,
Parang,
I want that. That's why I made
yeah,
sure
gusto
I
kong
was registered.
sumali.
Oo.
Yeah.
Ay, sumali
Sana.
ako.
Sumali din po kami. Huwag kayong mag-alala, sir.
We tried keeping our fingers crossed because we would want to have this Google Nest Mini 2. Again, we're
Yes.
going to be giving away 5 Google Nest Mini 2. Ayan, try to
Yan.
Google it right now kung ano ba ito, but I believe may idea na
It's,
kayo kung anong itsura nito
mm-hmm.
and what is this for. Alright, you're gonna be
And,
enjoying this.
naku,
Okay.
magagamit natin tong mga teachers. Kaya naman napakaswerte ng 5 mananalo at
Bali, tatlo
mag-uuwi.
na lang. Ay, dalawa na lang. Kasi isa, dalawa, tatlo tayo.
So dalawa. Sa atin na pala yun.
Okay. So, paano nga ba natin to gagawin, Miss Jen? We're gonna be...
We will have our wheel of names. Dito, lahat po ng nag-answer ng ating evaluation form ay automatically kasali na ang name sa ating wheel of names na ipapakita na ngayon.
Go, Sir Earl. Ayan.
Ayan.
Yan.
Yan. O, sige.
Okay, exciting.
Spin the wheel. Ayan. Tignan natin.
Let's see.
Ang dami. Ilan ang participants natin for this? Going 300, 500?
Yeah. I think almost 500 names po.
Ayan na. May pumalakpak na.
I think that signals our first winner.
Okay. Sir
Oh.
Mark, may please do the honor.
Our first winner is Miss Cherilyn Fernandez. Congratulations.
Ma'am
Yay!
Fernandez. Okay, please comment or we're gonna be trying to reach out to you para masabi namin kung paano mo po makiklaim ang iyong prize. Ma'am Cherilyn Fernandez. So may nagsusulat po ng ating name, so huwag kayong mag-alala. Later, ipopost ulit namin. Oh, ang layo sa
Yehey!
pangalan ko.
Actually, nung sumagot sila, di ba, tinatanong kasi yung email address. So, ibig sabihin, malaki ang chance na through email po kayo i-contact.
Ayan, congratulations to our first winner. So, nabawasan na tayo ng isa. We only have 4 more. We still have 4 more. Naku, hinihintay ko na yung pangalan.
The wheel.
Pangalan
Go,
ko
go, go.
hinihintay.
Jennifer na ba ang sunod? Jennifer with a G? Ay,
Oh,
layo eh.
layo.
Our next winner is Melivit Blasquez. Ayan.
Ayan.
And our second
Blasquez.
winner is Melivit Blasquez.
Okay, we have a winner, Melvit Blasquez. Congratulations!
Congratulations!
That Miss Jane, gumaganon-ganon tayo.
Yan.
Okay,
Okay.
let's spin the wheel. Ilan na lang, Miss Jen?
We still need 3 more winners.
Wow, we're good in math.
Yan. Jennifer na ba ito? Pam?
No,
Or Sir
Pam.
Mark?
Uy!
Malapit na eh.
Our third winner is Miss Jemeline Lopez. Congratulations.
Wow.
Jemeline
Javelin.
Lopez. Ayan. Ma'am Jemeline, congratulations. You're our third recipient or winner. Okay, let's...
Have our 4th winner. Spin the wheel. From Batangas.
From Caloocan.
From Pasig. We have our next winner, Miss Cristel Ann Anak. Again, our next winner is Miss Cristel Ann Anak. Congratulations.
Cristel, congratulations. You have it for free. Okay. So, how many
And
winners do we have right now, Miss Jen?
we already have 4 winners and we're down to our last recipient. Sino kaya ang lucky last?
Pangalan ko na yan.
Manggagaling sa Caloocan.
Mukhang letter G na to. Nararamdaman ko na.
Oh!
Oh.
Our
Sayang.
last winner is Myraldine A. Vendero. Again, our last winner is Miss Myraldine A. Vendero. Congratulations.
Yay!
Wow. So
Congratulations!
we have the lucky 5 winners picked via Wheel of Names who will be receiving Google Nest Mini 2.
Yan.
Ayan.
Wait for the email, I think. Hintayin lang nila yung email na isasend sa kanila. Congratulations once again.
Congratulations. Kapit tayo, baka pagkatapos naman ng ilang minuto, meron ka ulit.
Oo, alam mo naman ng Google, di ba? Maraming
Napaka-generous.
surprises and very generous. Nasa kanila na nga ang lahat eh.
So we're gonna be giving Google some time to think about it. But for now, okay, we're gonna be giving, okay, this time para sa kanyang closing and inspirational message for everybody. Let's all welcome, of course, kilalang-kilala na natin ito. Kilalang-kilala na natin ang pinakamaasahan. Okay, we have Sir Mark Anthony CC.
Thank you, Miss Pam. Ayan. At salamat din, Miss Jen. To all of our teachers who are currently watching, I keep on telling this all the time, that empowering ourselves professionally is really a must. It's no longer a question kung kinakailangan bang libayad ang mga session dahil sa DepEd, ginagawa natin itong libre. We will always reach our teachers. Kung tingin natin ay mahirap, gagawa kami ng paraan para ito ay mapadali at mapasimple. With the help of our partner, Google, I'm sure magagawa po ninyo iyon ng wasto at tama. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate our 6 soon-to-be Google Certified Innovators. Sila po ay nanggaling sa public school at magre-release po kami ng information about them. I am very thankful kasi matagal ko na po talagang pangarap yon. Dahil nung ako ay pumasok sa DepEd, isa lang talaga yung lagi kong binabanggit. Ang mga public school teachers ay magagaling. Nakita ko po yun sa aking pag-iikot. Kinakailangan lamang ay mabigyan sila ng tamang opportunity, equal opportunity. Dahil kapag sila ay nabigyan ng pagkakataon, ilalabas at ilalabas nila ang kanilang buong husay. While I'm watching earlier, napapangiti po talaga ako. I'm very happy na nandito si Ma'am Riza. Hi, Ma'am Riza. Hindi po niya ako kilala, but learning that she is from a LaSalle school, syempre pag binanggit yung LaSalle, malapit po talaga yun sa puso ko because I'm a former LaSallian educator. And having that kind of scenario na naranasan ko, nabigyan po kami ng lahat ng oportunidad ng paaralang yon para kami ay mapaghusay. At laging nababanggit, ay sana yung mga nangyayari sa mga big private schools ay magawa po sa ating public school system. We are not copying, but we are imitating what is good. And we replicate it. The more teachers that are empowered, actually malaki ang maitutulong nun para maibigay natin sa ating mga mag-aaral. Hindi kayo matatakot, hindi kayo maiinis, hindi kayo masastress dahil gagawa tayo ng paraan para dyan. I encourage each one of you to check and revisit kung meron pong GEG o Google Educators Group sa inyo pong lugar. Pinapangarap ko po talaga na mabuo po ang learning community na ito na mapaghusay at makita po ang mga teachers, ang mga edtech enthusiasts na willing mag-share ng kanilang oras at panahon para maibahagi pa sa iba pang mga kaguruan. Being a former leader, ayun parang ang tanda ko na, being a former leader of GEG Ortigas, ako po ay natutuwa noon na marami akong nakikilalang mga teachers at sila ay aking nagagabayan. Hindi ko in-imagine in my wildest dream that I will be the head of the ICTS EdTech. Given that opportunity, I am now tossing this one to all of you watching. Be the leader and lead. Hindi kakayanin ng isang tao. Kinakailangan, ititrain natin ang iba para ang iba ay maging leader din. Hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon ay tayo lang ang kinakailangan na nagsasalita. Darating at darating ang panahon na tayong mga nagsasalita ay papalakpak sa backstage dahil meron tayong na-inspire na mga guro para masimulan at madugtungan ang ating mga nagawa. Mga kaguro, sana po bigyan nyo ng opportunity ang paggamit ng ating Google Workspace for Education Fundamentals o yung ating account mismo. Meron na rin po nito ang ating mga learners. It's just taking time na bigyan natin ng sapat na oras na ma-enhance natin ang ating skill at ito ay gamitin. Pwedeng sa isang taon, mahihirapan tayo, pero pag constant, lagi mo na siyang ginagawa, mapapadali yan at kayo mismo ay makakais ng new ways paano ito i-deliver efficiently and effectively. Malay nyo, sa mga susunod na buwan, sa mga susunod na araw, kayo na ang nagsasalita at ibinabahagi ang inyong mga output. Pero tandaan ha, kapag kayo ay nagsho-showcase ng mga projects ng inyong mga mag-aral, huwag ipapakita ang kanilang mga mukha. Gaya ng ginawa kanina ni Ma'am Riza, itago po yun kasi it's their privacy. Pag tayo ay nagsho-showcase ng mga output, isa yun sa ating mga kinakailangan na gawing konsiderasyon. At tandaan natin na ang kagawaran, ang DepEd ay nakikinig at ibibigay ang ating mga kinakailangan na professional growth. Ito man ay binibigay ng ating partners from NEAP, from Curriculum and Instruction o maging ng ICTS. Ito ay tulong-tulong, sama-sama dahil meron tayong iisang layunin to have a better basic education system sa ating bansa. God bless us all.
God bless us all indeed. Thank you so much, Sir Mark. Alam namin napaka-busy mo, pero you have graced our event today. Sa hindi tayo nagtagpo kanina, ano po?
Mhm. Thank you so much, Sir Mark. You are such an inspiration to many.
Thank you.
Okay. Sir Mark, sana makasama ka namin next time ulit, face-to-face. Kwentuhan and all.
Yes.
Thank you po again.
Thank
I
you.
hope you will have a good weekend.
See you Lanao. May pahabol talaga.
Thank you, Sir Mark.
Miss Jen, alam kong pareho tayo kanina na #sana all.
Yeah. Napasana all talaga ako, Miss Pam. But anyway, hindi man tayo sinuwerte sa raffle, buong maghapon naman tayong sinuwerte sa dami, siksik, liglig at umaapaw natin na learning from our speakers. Right? Sabi nga, winning and learning, it's really a Saturday to celebrate today. Google really knows the desires of our hearts. Again, congratulations to our raffle winners and hep hep hooray to all our participants who were so engaged into our discussions. You are all amazing. And we are wishing to have you back in our next Google events. Remember, it's not about teaching technology. It's about using technology to teach. This has been Miss Jennifer Awatin de Jesus, Deputy Vice Teacher Broadcaster from Alae, Batangas Province, your host and your Google buddy.
And of course, this has been Pamela Amor Villanueva, also a TV teacher broadcaster from SDO Caloocan, lugar ng matatapang, bayan ni Andres Bonifacio, also your chummy Google host, hoping to meet all of you again in our next Google session. Never stop dreaming, always learn from the heart. Until we meet again, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Bye.
Good day, this is Teacher Rowan. I'll be your guide in exploring Google Apps for education, for teaching and learning. In Google for Education, teachers can connect and collaborate easily while staying on task. It gives teachers the freedom to spend more time personalizing the learning experience and less time managing it. Students can learn essential skills such as 21st century problem solving, which they can use it in their future careers. As such, the accessibility features will also help and assist every learner to do their best work. Google offers different useful applications that we can use to connect education to technology. This will help our teachers as a 21st century educators to innovate and find ways on how to make teaching and learning more exciting, engaging, effective, and flexible to the demands of the society. Let's re-explore the education experience by discovering new angles to create, collaborate, and communicate as one. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Ang pagkatuto, huwag gawing komplikado. Sulong edukalidad.